welcome back to another video about Honkai Impact. Today we are going to continue with the main story. Now that chapter 11 is out, we are going to do that. A mass of 4-8. So yeah. Or a mass for atheists is the big, I guess. I'm not sure. But yeah, we are going to start with that one. Yeah, a mess of for AVS is the chapter name. Oh, looks nice. Perform in the sunlight, I think that. It looks earliest landscape become part of myself. Turns out that includes the gods. Well,
神様の夢もその風景に含まれてるんだね。落星の最初の風景を私の一緒にお散歩しましょう。
But I would like to change the setup of characters. Just so that in case I need to fight, I want to have a better team.
一緒にお散歩しま
Even
しょ
if I doubt that I get such a form of a fight. But let's
う。こ
continue
こにいる
main
みんな
mission.
もあ、いいし。
Dreamseeker and her friends entered the first sector and Diving, the first city in Luxing's history. Led by Senna, Dreamseeker attended the memorial exhibition that was being held nearby. During this short journey, Dreamseeker discovered many familiar faces from Oxia. Meanwhile, Coley and Hia found Layla, who was late, and met up with Dreamseeker at the exhibition. They were voting for their favorite memorial and watching today's best memorial. After a brief reset, Dreamseeker exchanged information with Coley and Hia. After combining it with company of friends and Senna's refreshments, Dreamseeker anxious thoughts were once again dispelled in her head, then let around. Next morning, Layla was the first to wake up. She misunderstood Dreamseeker due to Naralab's oversight. With the promise of planting saplings with Senna, Layla and Dreamseeker had to work together despite the awkwardness. Yeah, fell into the rift of data. With the help of Colin here, the misunderstanding between them was resolved. When they opened Senna's dashboard that gave us an apology, Aaron sent the two
あな
items.
たのために絶対失敗できない。
For sake. I not fail. Outthink. Those words. Yeah. What followed was an awkward smile from the listener, several seconds of silence, words of concern.
緊張する必要はありません。職業適性テストはそう難しいものではありませんし、
Nervous, the kid
正直に
here
答えていただ
at
けれ
the
ば大丈夫です。
This assessment isn't difficult, just answer honest.
結果に基づき、キャリア
The
カウンセ
career
ラーがあなた
counselor
に最
will
適な
assign you
職
the
業を
most
割り当て
suitable
ますよ
job。 based on your test results. Isn't it only natural to give it your all in a test that will determine the course of your future? Moreover, this was my first test since leaving the stasis pod. Even though those words always slipped out thoughtlessly and unguardedly, even though the moment I speak those words become a vessel filled with certain obsession. Even though I still don't know who that person is. When I first embarked on this dream-seeking journey, not once did I question the weight those words carried. 20 minutes later, 4 and 5 walked out of the room with beaming smiles. The career counselor skipped 3, which was me. It must have been an oversight. I kept reassuring myself with unconvincing reasons, yet even the reassurance itself carried a subtle sting, one coming from the gut feeling that it wasn't unintentional. 40 minutes later, 12 left the room visibly crushed. Unsurprisingly, not everyone could get their dream job. Will my result turn out the same as 12's, or is it an insult to that person who even compared them to me? After all, there's a world of difference between getting an unsatisfactory job and not getting a job at all. An hour later, 5 people are still pending assessment. The career counselor still hasn't found a suitable job for me. The desire to escape was infinitely magnified this moment, yet the courage needed to escape was easily crushed by its hopeless nature. The soreness stuck in my throat grew heavier by the second, soon spreading to my eyes. To prevent others from discovering that sourness had taken on a transparent form, I had to sink my thoughts into darkness as thick as eternal night. 2 hours later, a petite figure suddenly came into my hazy vision. The figure circled around me a few steps, and the breeze she still carried once more to me the scent of a new world I breathed when I first stepped out of the stasis pod. Stop crouching in the corner with that miserable look. From today on, you'll be working under me. Ignoring me? I've been staring at you in front of the stasis pod for 178 days and remotely observing you for 411 days. How dare you forget this adorable face of mine? My face was forcefully cupped in her hands, and though I was utterly unwilling, I had no choice but to look into the swan-like eyes. You're the 11th director of the Data Research Institute, and the one taller than you is your student. What's your purpose in pointing out she's taller than me? Who put you up to it in those 6 hours I wasn't watching? I don't know, I haven't. Professor, you scare her like this. The tall woman pinched the professor's cheek. The latter pouted and finally lowered her hand that was pinching my cheek. When dealing with depressed people, you need energizing words. You know what? I love teaching students without any prior knowledge, because it gives me a great sense of achievement. But when I was into stasis pod, you said the exact opposite. Bitterness hit like a raging tide, overwhelming my reason in an instant. By the time I came to my senses, the accusations had long since broken free from my mouth. You said you loved smart, pretty and caring students the most, and if possible, you like to find another student who's organized. Thank you, Professor. The professor's face also contorted. She pulled at her student's hand, but seeing that her student remained unmoving, she suddenly lunged toward me. She's angry with me. This is all your fault. My fault? Yeah, you've said that many times. The abnormal lighting in the observation room was clearly caused by a circuit fault, but afterwards you claimed that it was my stasis chamber, intentionally stealing power to scare you. We even graffitied on the exterior of my stasis pod, and when you forgot to clean it up before the major's inspection, you defended yourself by claiming that my invisible hand had controlled your consciousness. That wasn't graffiti, it was a blessing wishing for your early recovery and release. It only looked like an eyesore because our professor can't draw. Blessing. Shut up, come on, we've got work to do. Perhaps too embarrassed to face the fact that her student exposed her, she interrupted my thoughts with a stack of documents and rapid-fire demands. and thus dragged me and my uncertain future onto a stage bathed in spotlight where only genius could tread. 1 week after Seon's visit to diving, even though she was in a different time and place unknown of what the future holds. Before we begin this operation, I want you to think about the question. Note that you do not have the right not to answer. What do I have the right not to listen? No, so you better listen carefully to what I have to say. Suppose you made a discovery so great that it could reshape the fate of the world, but the discovery itself goes unrecognized by the people. The genius, what would you do? Will do everything in my power to prove it's valid. Basic like-minded. An obvious choice. However, you only have 22 days left. Are you confident you can prove this discovery beyond any doubt? At least give me a chance to struggle. Minder, but you seek emotional comfort from your imaginary friend. Fear time won't stand still. Not an imaginary friend, but my collaborator and deep thinking. Got it? You ever bother to think deeply about anything I've said? For example, I need not dwell on futile efforts. Time itself will make people realize their myopic fallacies. Even if my pride makes me pay the price of sinking into the sea with it, thought of it, a moment's victory is enough for a genius to die with a smile. Stop cursing me. If I can survive by just trying harder, why should I die with a smile on my face? See, your instinctive denial of what your collaborator said is proof that you resist deep thinking. Mistakes are not mere floating ice, they are shattered frozen lakes. In my view, you already lost within it. Alright, stop playing the childish game of asking and answering your own questions. Learn from your shy friend instead. Before doing anything important, say, I can do it. Senadina is watching over me. 10 times to yourself. The method doesn't work for me. Oh, so you've been trying it with her behind my back? I didn't, trying to make me justify myself. Right. I want you to leave. You should quiet down. Don't disturb me while I'm very fresh out of the god song. I think I heard that sound that I only heard when wrenching Cody's stay to wake up. That all you can think about? What happened to all my sweet melodious words? Back to the topic. Vita the Overseer, no others have detected Vita within the lunar vicinity, nor did Archita within the system. I saw the Vita that Sion and Layla found when they fell into the sea of data. Archita tried various methods to analyze it, but gained nothing from it. Yeah. Remember, after Songkyu sealed away perception, she also inexplicably disappeared for a long time. She suddenly crawled out the ruins on the day of her funeral, which happened to be exactly 7 days after her death. Come to think of it, it's been exactly a week since we arrived in Daifang. So I suggest we discuss Vita's situation tomorrow. She might rise from the dead out of those fetters anytime today. Compared to her, Senna is the one who worries me more. In your palm lay the custom charm gifted by Candice. It solidified your happy day with the god, but you could no longer draw even a hint of happiness from it. You noticed something was off in both Senna and Nahara held their breath to keep a secret from Layla, but because the mood was so relaxed at that time, it didn't ask about it later. Had I been more attentive, would that incident not have happened the next day? Before being crushed by overwork, she maintained a healthy public image by repeating, I'm fine and I'm okay, by making public appearances at high-profile events. Also you can see Daifang's god Senadina has terrible work-life balance. Fortunately, she wasn't in micro-sleep by taking you all for a while. She was just so weak that little Layla had to call her 5 or 6 times before she got up from bed, only to collapse back into it. This is the 5th time this year. The last time was just a month ago. If I could grow up faster, if I could help Senadina with more things, you would be like this.
それじゃあ
You'd be the next
次
one to
にレイラ
collapse
が
from
倒れるだけ
exhaustion.
だ。困ったもの
What
だ
a
な。
headache or distracting. I told Senadina the right answer long ago. I suppose I have to stress it to her one more time.
セナディアが
For now, we
声援
should
してい
think
る
of an
間
excuse to get through
フォードの
Senadina's
人々が心配
decaption
しないよう
period
に
without worrying the people
ごま
of
かす方
diving.
法本当は
Info, I want to declare to everyone.
彼女が耐えて
The
いる
pain she's enduring is the pain imagined by all the
私が今
sages
ま
and
で見た
heroes
賢
I
者や
have
英
ever
雄
known
たちが
combined.
想像してきたすべてだと
Pain is not the outcome, but the very cause that put the god's consciousness into a state of unknowing. As for descriptions like exhaustion and micro sleep, they were most likely fabricated by Nara at Senadina's instruction. When you told the lunar base about Senadina's situation, Dr. Einstein made that conjecture.
さすがに
Instead,
倒れ
due
た
to
セナに
Senadina's poor
リタと
condition,
キア
I
ナの
haven't
夢
been
を見
able
た理由を
to
聞く
ask
こ
her
とは
why
な
to
か
of
った
Vita and Kiana. Our plans toward the
一緒
main
に中心
district
地を回り
together have
約束を
also
打った
been
線を
put
お
on
預け
hold.
になセナの
As
次
the
に
temporary
フォ
most
ードの人
trusted
たちから
individual
信
by
頼
the
されてい
diving
るレイラ
people,
は
Layla
神
temporarily
様
took
は
over
新しい
Senna's
街
duties
を
under
開
the
拓しに
pretext
出
that
かけたっ
the
ていう
god has
理由
gone
を
out
作
to
って
develop new cities.
一時その間
During this time, we've been
私たちは
assisting
レイラ
Layla
の
by
杖をしな
taking
が
care
ら
of
セナ
Senadina,
の看病
waiting
をし
for
て
her
回
recovery
復を待
and
った
today.
このまま待ってるわ
Can't
けに
keep
はいか
waiting
な
like
いわ
this.
神様が回
But
復
the
すれ
idea
ば
that once
危
the
機を
god
乗り越え
recovers
ら
the
れるっ
crisis
て
will
考
resolve
えること
itself
自体
isn't
は
wrong.
間違ってないけ
Has
ど
made us focus too much on
私たちは
Senadina.
セ
What
ナ
if
以
the
外のこ
crisis
と
in
が見え
diving
なく
is
なってきてるよね
missed on the god's inability
も
to
し
intervene in the
フォードの危機が
intervene in the first
神
place?
様で
同感だよ
Ekvi, no one can say for certain how long it
具体的に
takes
どれくらいかかるの
Senna
か
to regain her
誰にもわからない
vitality. Will it be 5 days like the
4回目の
fourth
時も
time, a week like the
5日
third
間
time,
かかる
or a
のか
month like the first
3回
time?
目の
調べてみたけ
According
ど
to my research, the public is
フォードの人
basically
たち
unaware
は
of
ここ
any
数回
change that
も神
occurred
様
during
が不
these
在の時に
periods
起
when
き
the
てた
god
変
is
化を
absent. Even the
そんな
most
に認識してなかったよ
attentive Sea of Data
それに
Research Institute has
最も
released
権威
any
のあるデータの
anomaly
海研
reports,
究所でも
and that's precisely
そこ
what
が一番
concerns
気
me
に
the
なるんだ
most.
科学が
You
進
know,
歩してる
Diving
今の
nearly
フォー
owns
ドは
all of its
ほ
advanced
とんど一
technologies
人
to
の
a
神
god
様が
who
働
overworks
きすぎた
herself.
結果でできたものだ神様
A
の輝
brilliant
きを浴び続け
light
てきた
often
ん
leads
だ
people to believe that they can
それ
who
が
can
自分の
shine, but once
光
you
だ
look at the long history
と
of
みんなが勘違
boxing,
いしてし
you
まうのも仕方
immediately
ない
notice that the people of diving are
実
still
際フォードの
primitives in
歴
their
史を見れば
childhood.
つまり
You
異
mean
常は
anomalies
確か
when
に存在してるけど
inevitably exist,
フォ
but
ードの
diving
人た
people
ちには
haven't yet
それ
developed
を
the
危機
ability
の
to
前兆として
recognize them
認
as
識する
warning
能
signs
力
of
が
crisis?
まだないってこと
そう
Exactly. When
レイ
Layla
ラ
and
と
our
マ
lab
ハ
are
ラは手
spread
が
too
回ら
thin
ない状態だし
and Litos remains
私
away,
と
I'm
ももう
afraid
戻
we
れな
can
い
only rely on
そうなる
ourselves
と
as
今頼
people
れる
from
の
the
は
future.
み
To be honest,
まさに
exactly why I
今日
gathered
はそのため
you all
に
here
みんな
today.
に集まってもここにもき
I
っと
believe that even in
自
this
分がまだ
era,
子供時
there
代にい
must
る
be
っていう
people
こ
who
とに気づ
realize
いて
they are
それを
in
超
what
え
you
ようと
call
する人が
childhood
存
and
在
try
す
to
るはずだよ
overcome it. My intuition serves me. My
私
professor
の
is
先生
among
なら
them.
できるこの前
When we
記念館
visited
を
the
見学
memorial
した
hall,
時に
Senadina mentioned
背
her
中
name.
から
I
彼女の名
later
前を聞いたんだ
inquired about her
そ
whereabouts.
の
She's
後
now
に
working
私
at
も
the
調
Sea
べ
of
てみたんだ
Data
けど
Research Institute.
彼女なら
Perhaps she's
データの
already
海に
noticed
発
some
生してる
anomalies
異常に
related to
もう
the
気
Sea
づ
of
いてる可
Data.
能性
After
がある
all, this was her
多
research
くでも
focus in
同じ研
Oxia,
究テー
and
マ
she
を選ん
happened
で
to
た
have
し
studied it more
誰よ
deeply
りも
than
深く
anyone
探って
else.
た彼女なら
I believe we
私
can
たちの
point
調
us
査
in
に
the
方
right
向を示してくれるん
direction
じゃ
for
ない
our
かな
crisis investigation. Please, I have searched high and low, asked everyone I should and shouldn't have, and now you're telling me there was an expert at the institute all along? There's only one truth, you're the expert they're looking for. That's right, as if. If someone says exactly what I want to hear, nine times out of 10, there's only one reason for it. Trust me, that idiot will hear and think, wow, these people sound so sweet, I hereby declare them my friends for life. Once we lead her to an isolated place, we capture her, a genius, ha, she won't be coming back from this one. Do the math, how many times have I seen two setups like this, and how many times have I slipped away from the institute staff? Yeah, you have a point, so why are you still here? Of course it's because there's a 10% chance that they're the same as me, and that they're looking for to know free tales. Here wasn't wrong.
いや
Okay.
エリア
Here, let me stay in bed a
もう
little
ちょっと
longer,
だけ寝か
please.
せてくれない
Sure.
いいよ
They find me? No, my buffering was done perfectly, and my hiding spot was clever enough. They couldn't have found me. If they had, why wouldn't they come over now? Giving up the 10% chance because of the 90% risk stream on. I'm determined to see what you're up to. Following some quiet babbling, I spotted someone squatting not far away. Who do you think I'm a student of? Speaking this blandly, did you really think we wouldn't notice? It looks just like a strawberry mochi. A delicious looking pear that you could eat in one bite. Side note, I didn't take this photo, and neither did our resident fan of fur. She turned down Cora's suggestion that she should take the picture herself with a serious face. Yet she has a large collection of tail photos, even though they're all the same tail. If he hadn't translated those tactical hand signs for me, would have never realized Coley was about to take down the pier with a hammer. Thank goodness we stopped her. Anyway, every diving local I've met is multi-talented, with every particular hobbies. All in all, we can't abandon a 90% chance just because someone presents a 10% risk. Yeah. The girl couldn't help but look at the deep space anchor in front of the viewing window. It is the manifestation of divine power in the present, the commemoration of the time when the god chose to desolate Luxing and decide to bring it new life. Some say it anchored the past and present, others say it anchored the entire planet, but either way, it undoubtedly anchored the god and the fate of every Luxing native tightly together. With my imagination, somehow the anchor looks dimmer than before. This can hardly be considered solid evidence. It's better to stay grounded and take action. I should hurry after them. I like that we can play her. I really hope we could get her as a SWAP. I think she would be a perfect character as a SWAP. I get it. They must have forgotten their wallet. That's how young people are. Once they have plans to go out, their minds wander outside the moment they wake up. Who has time to check their belongings? All they do is trust the person they were yesterday. Unlike me, something like this would never make me. Wait, where's my wallet? Don't tell me I forgot it. No way, no way. Finally found it. Having too many pockets isn't a good thing. Let's go. How am I supposed to catch up when you walk so fast? Could it be that I have no choice but to do that? Oh, if I had a choice, I wouldn't do it, even if you killed me. We were so close. If that tall passenger hadn't bumped into Coley, if he hadn't rushed in steady and stepped on someone's foot, slipped, yanked Coley's head off, sending her camera flying straight at me. If I hadn't scrambled to catch it and accidentally pressed the shutter, you would have gotten a full shot of her face. We totally would have. Okay. Tracker with no talent for hide and honestly don't know what Professor looks like now. From the intel we have, maybe she's wearing a custom-made mini uniform. She must be one of the Institute's top priorities. Wait, do we need to book an appointment 7 days ahead of time to see her now, like back in Oxia? Go to the board like it. Sorry, okay to be extremely and exceptionally careful not to damage your expensive body. I hope you can understand my predicament. Once I've resolved this matter, I promise to pay you triple the fare. Fine. If your friend's imagined version of you is different from who you really are, would it still be a good thing for both of you to meet? Met a pen pro who truly resonates with my soul. She can understand all my feelings, my language and writing. Even those things I couldn't understand or put into words. After her paraphrase seemed to take on shape and color, I believe she is the soulmate I was destined to. Was here, that's why Toby and I came here, but at the end my courage dissolved. I know reality must be worse than fantasy, and I don't even know what my own face looks like. Let me think about it a bit more until the next train arrives. Oh god, how pathetic of me to start wishing the train wouldn't. I think many people have that problem. But she was too busy fiddling with the turnstile to notice the fair he tossed her way to the far side. Or maybe the wind carried it past the turnstile. I hope it's there when we get back, because they aren't that many by busking out. But I already knew she would forget it. Her wallet.
近日ゴシップ誌や業界の注目を浴びていますが、謎の日常のお金としてくる情報を入れ込む同期の記者がすでに記事を公開しており、業界の重鎮との対決を宣言しました。今後の展開に
I
ご期待
really
くださ
like.
い。
一本前の電車
Yet,
に乗った
the
の
one
に
train ahead of me. Why are they only arriving now?
成功エリアに向かったみ
They
たい
went
ね
to the sunshine district. I really like how I really like Honkai Impact Chapter now. Even if many people say it's not as good as part 1, I really enjoy it with the characters and so on. And also this pathway open world style. I really
ここは
Edo
建設
Sim
中の
district
省
that's
エ
still
リア
under construction.
失敗した時の逃げ道と
Could
しては
serve as a fallback
あり
plan
か
if the
も
operation fails.
弱音を吐いてちゃダ
No,
メ
if we plan on
それに
escape route in
全員
advance,
入
giving
れ
it
るかわからないし
our all
最
becomes
後
a
まで
chore.
持つ
Besides, we
保証
still
もない
don't know how many people it can accommodate or if.
ダンパーをもう少し
That
適当
said,
に
the
使っ
shock
てれば
absorption system for the
アトラクションにな
elevators
れ
too
たの
will
に
made if we were less made. Okay, that's an interesting bridge, definitely. Okay.
別行動する
They're
つもり
splitting up, that's so sudden, but no problem, I can keep tailing them. Okay, the two
確
conquered.
か二
I'm
人は
alright, their name are here in Zealand, right?
二人と
They
も
both
私よ
look
り
older
年
than
上
me.
み
If
た
I
い
get
だ
caught,
け
I
ど
could totally play the innocent little sister to target their sympathy
哀
lie.
れ
The full and kind big sisters, you've got it all wrong. I'm really not the person you're looking for. I'm just an ordinary middle school student on my way home to do homework. Something like that. Given that he had dots on Cody, she should be easily moved by my words. As for
信じて
Seeing,
くれるはずよそして直感だけど
my intuition tells me she's the type that blurt out something that penetrates people's emotional guard, then let them fight in house.
別に
A fool, I'm not scared by this at all. It's better to be safe and choose someone who's easier to run away from. The girl encouraged herself with her pet gentle enough not to leave a handprint on her cute face.
決めた
I decide, observe Coley. And we have a new area locked with this Eden. Surfing, Seaside Town. Which is Interesting. But okay. Cool. You're going to end this sightseeing boat? I'm an Indian member here. I show you what that means. So you're not renting a boat? Then are you looking for the perfect camera? I know a thing or two about photography. I could teach you some tricks. Want to catch me at the end of the corridor? If you dare to catch me, I dare you to jump into the lake. Wait, she's the one who's jumping? You can tell me anything that's stopping you. If I can help, I do my best to help. So promise me you won't do things like this again, okay? But I was just trying to admire my beauty on the rippling water. Hey, she's copying my style. Why are you surprised? You don't think I'm cute enough? No, I think you're very cute, especially your ears and tails. They make me want to, anyway, they're really cute. Want to pet them? Consider it compensation for scaring you. Hi. Yes, come a little closer. This is that I can hold your hand. And threw me into the lake. Definitely what you're thinking, definitely. Uh-oh. Thank you, but I need to go now. Eek. Is that your purpose, miss? There are many ways to make friends. I don't think stalking is. I'm sorry, I wasn't telling you to do bad things. I just really want to make friends with you all. Professor Yun? Professor, big sister, do you know me? My legs are still a bit weak, but if I can escape if I need to. Come on, let me see. Hi. Come on, let me see if you're really from the research institute. Hi. I have a friend who really admires you. She's always respectfully called you Professor Yu Yun. If that makes you uncomfortable, I can call you Yu Yun instead. How strange, ever since seeing my face, Yun's attitude has become particularly submissive. Could she be the big sister who's easily swayed by the pitiful little sister act? Big sister, I like interesting things. Since you called me a professor, why don't we keep it that way? Cooley and big sister. Yeah, you don't have to force yourself. Just call me Yu Yun. It's big sister Cooley. It's big sister Cooley. If I may ask, how old is Cooley? Age has nothing to do with it. If you insist on calling here big sister, you must call me that too. Conversely, you think it's weird to call me big sister, then you can call here that either. That really something to be concerned about. Or people aren't allowed to speak. I guess I won't call you two big sisters after all. Please don't call me big sister either. This is the request of my life. So I've become the highest ranking person in this league. This part of some elaborate scheme. Professor Yu Yun, could you please explain why you were following us? Well, Layla had promised me earlier that she would introduce me to her new friends today, but when I arrived, I only saw you all. I'm a bit socially awkward. I'm not brave enough to show myself when Layla wasn't around, but I really wanted to meet you all, so I followed you in secret until that happened. There's a phone booth around here, right? I'm calling Layla right now. Don't you dare call someone, anyone, please help. Cooley, I think this isn't very important, so there's no need to make a special call to verify it. Running so brightly, this person must be an angel. Is it too late to say this was just an icebreaker joke? This Professor Yu Yun, who you cited a million times, I wouldn't dare question her. Good thing to, By the way, if possible, would you mind if you show us around the Sea of Data Research Institute? There are some things we're very concerned about and need to confirm in me. Of course. No way. It's working hours right now. If I bring in unauthorized personnel, the director will give me a harsh scolding. But isn't today a rest day and I think? I understand Layla has to work overtime, but does the Research Institute have to too? The Research Institute alternates between 2 days off per week and 1 day off a week. So so today is the working day for us.
なのにずっと
Don't you
外
worry
に
that the director can catch you
社
hanging
長
out
にバレた
on
ら怒
outside
ら
and
れる
give
ん
you
じ
an
ゃない
earful?
それは
Well,
分かった
I get that.
ユン
Professor
先生は
Union,
き
you
っと
must be...
この人たち
They must be undercover agents sent by the research institute to arrest me. So they were trying to get info out of me this whole time. I need to retreat immediately. If I get caught here, it's all...
残業し
I
すぎ
must
ちゃ
be
って
taking
振
home
り替え
time
休暇を
the
取って
day
るん
for
だ
all
ね
the recent overtime. It's fair for you to have a day off, so it wouldn't be right to spend it all on entertaining us. Why don't you take us somewhere we can chat?
どこあなた
Oh. For the second time, the stranger who had never met the girl before placed just the right amount of trust in her for the second time.
ここまで
Then she said that should I take them to my secret base now and tell them everything? The impulse born from being moved almost pushed her to cast the same trust into the deep pool that had never produced a ripple. No, her consideration stems from her good upbringing, not from trust. I also don't think I've earned much of their affection yet.
残り22日
22 days left, the room for trial and error is running out.
それじゃあ失礼よ
Can't just be somewhere.
レイラが一緒じゃ
Layla
なかっ
must
た
be
の
too
は
busy to
あの
join
子が
you,
忙
right?
しすぎる
With
か
the
らで
god
しょ
being away, all the work has
神様
fallen
が
on
い
her
ない時
shoulders. I
代わり
don't
に
want to
仕事
bother
をす
her
る
because
必
of
要がある
this.
のよね
I don't want to dampen her
私はレイ
spirits
ラの邪
either.
魔をしたり
Layla's friends are
レイラ
my
の
friends.
友
I
達
make
は
sure to
私
take
の
good
友
care
達
of
みた
you.
いなものだか
All
ら
in her place.
こっついてきて
Come with me.
その前に言っ
But
てよ
before that, let's see if
ユン先
Professor
生
Yuyun did not sit at all.
全然気づ
Bully whispered, asking why I didn't recognize Professor Yuyun by her tail. That explanation is simple. 1. Professor hates anyone taller walking behind her. 2. Why would I be staring at Professor's 3. It's not like I've never seen it, but it was always accidental. I immediately looked away. This time I finally saw it clearly. Professor Yuyun's outfit, I remember it. Back when I helped tidy her room, found an old, completely faded piece of clothing folded neatly in a suitcase with never to be used again, faintly written on it. Was she trying to see away in her trainee self? But why? It was so adorable. No. So sneaky. The last time someone held me like this was during my first field study in Changshu. Back then, Professor Union hid in a cardboard box and followed us the whole way until she ran out of stamina and toppled the trash can, exposing herself.
どうして
Was
そん
that
なこ
really
とをするのか
necessary?
な真っ先に弱み
Lately
を見せて
displaying a
同情を
fragile
引
side
こ
to
う
win
とする
sympathy, Coiley's daily training really paid off. I just didn't think anyone besides Iya would
ま
fall
さか
for
ヘ
me.
リア以外にもこんな手に引く真っ先に弱みを見せて同情を引こうとするコラリーのお箱だねでもまさかヘリア以外にもこんな手に引っかかる人がいるなんて思わなかった結局私たちの後
After
を
all,
つ
the
けてた
person
のは
training us
中
turned
学
out
生
to
の
be the middle school version of
Yun
Professor
sensei
Yuyun.
だった
I thought she naturally hated
それに
running
して
and
も
jumping, but the
彼
truth
女は
is she
生ま
only
れ
got
つき
lazy
運動嫌い
after
だっ
she
たわけじ
started
ゃなくて
working.
仕事を始めてから運動しなくなったんだね
Professor in her middle school form is even cuter than I imagined. For the record, my imagination was perfectly proper, not driven by anything weird. Back then, she puffed up her cheeks, stood on tiptoe, and tried to tie my hair into twin tails, saying the trouble I caused made me look exactly like she used to. I thought she was scolding me, but now it's obvious she was mentally dementing me. Okay. And on to one more.
コラリー班長、ヘリア
Hello,
班長、
Captain Colleague
お
in
疲れ様です。
Captain here.
お疲れ様
So, are you
あんたは
from the Rift
隙間
Factory?
ここ
Yeah, thanks to you all, I don't have to work
今
overtime
日は
today.
残業せずにうちの第
To
3
finish
週
three
間分の
works
仕事を
weeks worth of our teamwork in just 4 days. I have to say, with your
二人の実力
prowess,
に匹敵する
Captain
のは
Litos is
リ
your
トス
only
ト隊
match.
長
実
To
は
be honest, he is now a match
その
leader.
リドそこま
But that good, I released for
で
good.
そういえば
By the way, how did you
皆さん
three
は
end
どう
up
して
with this kid?
お兄
So, I'm not a bad kid.
確かに
Not
悪
a
い子じゃあ
particular
りませんが
troublesome one. Never
厄介
mind.
さんありがとう
I don't think she expected that.
あ
もしかして
Are you the original form of that doll who fought alongside the god to defeat Spirit Vision?
大体は
It
神
was your
様が
god
頑
who
張って
did
くれた
most
んだ
of
け
the
ど
work.
ね
I was only
私
slowing
は
her down.
そんなこと
What
あ
are
り
you
ません
talking
よ
about? I loved
あ
those
なたは
solid
配
hints
信が切
you
れる
land
寸前に
hits you
練習
landed
を
on
ぶっ
that
飛ば
guy's
してくれ
face
たじゃな
before
いですか
cutting off the live stream. That
す
was
ごく
so
すっきり
satisfying.
したしその
I've
話
heard
は
about
小
this
耳に挟
incident,
ん
but
で
I
たけど
expect she would be the
まさか
protagonist.
正義
I
感
think
が
a sense
強
of
くて
justice and fearless courage. Isn't this exactly what I've been looking for?
あ
Alright,
うちの
would
新
you
作の
like to try
命
our
名
shop's
もう
new
もうふわふわ茶
Baba
はいかが
Moo?
ですごちそうします
Me?
よ
It's on me.
命名
Ooh, come again.
何命名もうもうふ
Baba
わふわ茶
Moo
よ
Moo Moo tea. I've had it a few
何度か飲んだこと
times.
あるんだけど
Really good.
命
What's with all
Moo.
those moo moo nonsense?
命名も
It's Baba Moo Moo. What are you? Fine, let me share an easy way to remember it.
命名は
Baba
羊
is a
の鳴
sheep
き声
sound,
で
moo is a cow
Moo moo
sound, so
は牛でしょ
Baba Moo Moo means
つ
this
ま
tea
り
has the
こ
fragrance
の
of
お
the
茶は草
grasslands
原
and
の香り
Hohu
がするの
means this tea
あ
gives
と
you the
ふわ
same
ふわは
comfortable feeling
な
as
んなら
snapping on the
草原でう
grassland.
とうとする
How
時
about
みたい
that?
に
Do you understand
気分
now?
がふわふわする
コラリ
Polly,
こ
nothing
こま
else
で説
will
明して
stump
も
you
らったの
now.
にごめんごめ
Sorry,
ん
do you want to take it?
ヘリアは飲んでみるの
一杯もら
I
おう
have
か
a
な
cup.
大きな声で
Speak
注文したら
up when you ordered. Did
たった
Professor
今
Yu just
ユ
share
ウ
method
先
to
生
help
が
us
覚え
some
方
about
を教
here?
えてくれた
Don't
じゃな
tell
い
me you were the one who
まさ
wasn't
か
paying attention.
じゃ
そんなわ
Of
けない
course
でしょ
not. Then I have a cup
そ
of
の
of Baba
命
Moo
名もうも
Hoo
う
Hoo tea.
ふわ
私
はい
はもちろん
You
飲む
want one too,
で
right?
しょ
Then noted
お
gratefully.
店の場所は
Since you know
こ
where
ち
the
らの
shop
お
is,
嬢
I
さんに
give
教
you
えてもら
these
ってく
free
ださ
drink
い
coupons.
ありがとう
Okay, thank you, miss. The name really is strange. No matter how you look at it. Here we are, ranked 5th on Diving's
コー
best
ダのお
ga
散歩スポット人気ランキング
getaways,
5
and
か
first
つ
on Professor
ユン
Yuyun's
ウン
personal
先生
picks, the
おすすめ
floating
ラン
pool
キング
plaza,
1位
my
でもある
place of
私が
contemplation
よ
and
く瞑想や
introspection.
まあ
You might be wondering,
一番
what?
見
How
晴
dare
らし
she
が良
not
くて
get first
3
place
つ
to
の
the
衛星を一緒
stargazing
に観測
terrace
できる
that
恒
has
星
the
帯
best
が
view
1
where
位
you
じゃ
can
な
see
い
all
の
3
って
satellites at
思う
once.
人でも
But I must
私は
state my
自分の
opinion,
判
and I
断を信
believe
じて
you
る
fall in love with this place sooner or
時が来
later.
れば
行政代
Now
って
I've
い
been
う
to
と
the
ころには行った
stargazing
ことがない
terrace.
し
This is my
い
first
き
time
なり
at the
広場
floating
も初めて
pool
来たけど
plaza, but I trust
ユ
the
ン先
place.
生のセンス
ありがとう
Thank you, dear listener. Wait, you've never been there? What about Central Park? Sure, you couldn't have missed that in your life so far.
私たちはよ
It'd be
そ者だか
wonderful
ら
if you could find the
い
time
つ
to
か
show us
いろいろ案内して
outsiders
くれ
around
ると嬉しい
sometimes.
な
よそ者
Outsiders?
しばらくフォードにい
I
な
was
かったっ
exploring
ていう
outside
だけじゃ
diving for a while. How do you
よそ者
make
とは
one
呼ぶ
outsider? How outside are you exactly? In which land are you
ということは
from? Wait, besides
あなたたちは
diving,
フォードに
there's
外
no
から
set
来たの
capital city
なら
Luke thing.
じゃ
Ah, I get it now. This is another
あそれって
icebreaker
場を
joke,
和
right?
ま
Huh?
せるジョークってや
It's
つ
quite
でしょ
amusing.
ユン先
Quite
生
soon. I'm not
実は
joking. I'm
冗談じ
serious.
ゃなくて
Then
夢
you're
追い
putting
人
too much faith in
焦り
Professor
すぎちゃダ
Union's
メだ
mental
よ
resilience.
前置き
Next
なし
time
に
I'll
そんな
just
こと
your
を
ease
言われたら
others
ユーンだって
into
キ
shocking
ャバオーバーになっ
revelations
ちゃう
like
でし
this
ょ
more slowly.
確かにそう
Who,
だ
even when I was
私
8,
ですら
before setting
8歳
off
の
on
時に手
adventures
作りのボートで冒険に
in
出
my
る前に
homemade boat, I'd leave a
ちゃんと
note saying goodbye, Mommy. I'm
さよなら、
sailing
お母さん。
away tonight.
ごめん
I'm sorry,
考え
I
が足
didn't
りてな
think
かっ
it
た
through.
ね
However, since we've met by
でも
chance ahead of schedule,
偶然とは
getting
い
sight
え
to the point will
予
help
定よ
us
りも
reach a
早く会えた
consensus
から
faster.
なら
Since we've come this far, let me be even more honest.
ユン
Yunun,
夢
by
追い
seeing
人は
can call,
ギリ
be
ギリ
called
よ
an
そ者って
outsider.
いう
Cole
立
and
場
I
で
are literally
私とコ
aliens.
ラリー
We
は
might not be able to see Earth clearly from the
本物の
stargazing
宇宙人な
terrace,
の
but we're in fact neighbors.
宇宙
Aliens
人
are. That's a funny joke too. I feel like I've gotten closer to
ジョ
everyone.
ークが
Ah,
うん
As the
実
saying
はね
goes, distant waters cannot
落星に
quench a nearby
もう
fire.
すぐ
And if a
災
nearby
害が
fire is
訪れ
left
るんだ
unchecked, it will immediately
放って
spread
お
to
いて
neighbors. From
地
any
球も危ない
perspective,
か
we
もしれ
share
ない
destiny.
だから
Therefore,
ナ
I,
ウマを
Lady
コラリー
Coley,
様
the
は
Dark Lord,
正
hereby
式に
extend
オ
the
ファー
formal
を出すことに
invitation
したの
to you. You must join
ね
our team. Luxin and
私
Earth
たち
need
の
you.
パーティー私
Me?
が
Me?
ユン先
You
生は
must be
研
very
究所のことをご
self
まかして
about
たけ
outsiders at the Research Institute because of difficulties that can't be disclosed. As for real reasons for following us, I won't ask for an explanation now. I just want to tell you, Professor Yun, that whatever you want to do, we will help. There's no need to force yourself to prove to me or to anyone the existence of something you've already long possessed. Because it's right here. The girl's hand was gently lifted by the other person's. Only then did she notice several abrasions on the back of her hand. Her original plan was, if this girl left me to die, I'd torture her into confessing. If they tried to stop me, I talked to her nicely, but you rushed over and helped me tight. Thanks to my training, I didn't hurt myself anyway Yeah, but you, anyway, I'm sorry.
ユン
Yun, let me
Dad
help
is
you
looking
treat it. The
傷口を見せ
disinfection
てくれる
might sting a bit, but it'll be
消
over
毒すると
quickly.
き
One should say something when good fortune comes their way. Humility, gratitude, a flattering tone along with a most practiced cute gesture, all laying bare her anxious heart right here in front of everyone. Countless thoughts flashed through her mind at this moment that trails overlapping, intersecting with those left behind by her contemplation and floating pool plaza, ultimately waving into a web of anxious that hung before her. Why? Why did everyone progress so smoothly? Why were they able to trust others so generously? Why did she get everything so easily without showing enough sincerity? But it was too late anyway. The words she had missed had already fallen, shattering into pieces of silence across the
ユ
hall.
ン先生
She probably put her hands behind her back, hastily wiping the blood off on her clothes.
初めて来て
Since
くれ
it's
た
your
お
first
客さん
time
に
here,
お
you could.
土
How
産
could
を
we
送ら
skip
な
the
きゃね
souvenirs? Wait a moment.
ちょっと待って
There's
サプライ
a
ズ
surprise.
だ私
Am I?
何をしてるの
The moment she walked into the store, the girl's wandering thoughts finally came together. Just as her imaginary friend had said, mistakes are not mere floating ice, but a shattered frozen lake, and she had long since lost herself within it.
お嬢さん
Miss, you have
事情
your
は分
reason.
かったけど
I have mine.
お姉さんはこれでもちゃんとお仕事お土産なら
Just a souvenir, it wouldn't matter even if you bought it
お友達
tomorrow.
にき
You
ちん
can't
と説
afford
明
the
すれば
consequences of your reasons being rejected, but I can.
もしあなたが
If
約
you
束を
don't
守っ
keep
て
your
くれな
word,
かった
I
ら
have to cover the
お店が
losses
損しちゃう
myself.
し
My boss might hold
私
it
も責
against
任
me.
者として
迷惑をかけ
So
ちゃ
you're
ってご
causing
め
a
んなさい
trouble?
せっかく彼女たち
Finally
と
got
合
a
流
chance
で
to
きたの
go
に
with them.
手
I
ぶらで帰る
mustn't
わけに
return
は
empty-handed.
修
Might
学
as
生
well
だ
say
か
you're
ら
a
た
middle
だ
school
でちょう
student
だい
so
っ
I
て
can
言われ
give
た
you a
方
free
が
ride.
まあ身分を
Usually, as
証
long
明
as the
できるような
customers
ものを見
voluntarily
せてく
provide
れれば
reliable
貸しを作ってもいい
identification, I
け
lend it
ど
as a favor.
名前
But I don't
住民
understand.
ナンバ
Just a
ー
few
も
words,
しくは
name,
勤
driving
務
ID
先の
number,
情報
workplace, or school addresses.
何一つ
Really
言
that
え
hard
ない
to
なん
tell
て
me?
それとも
Or is it
他
that
人
you
に
have a
話せ
reason
な
for
い
not
理
telling?
由
I go now. I'm sorry.
そうだドリン
Wait,
ク
I don't have bubble tea voucher. Look, my surprise is that I brought back bubble tea.
例の
今お作
Sorry,
りし
I'm,
ますので
I'm making a
座って
Mickey
待って
now.
て
You
くださ
can
い
sit
ね
down for a bit. No
ず
need
っ
to
と
keep
入り
standing
口で
by
立
the
ってた
door.
はず
Thanks.
ありがとう私が必
Hey,
要
hey, people, you really need wouldn't worry over all that nonsense all day like
私み
me.
たいにきっとあの
They
人た
probably
ちも
just want to use my connection to find answers at the Sea of Data Research Institute, some aliens. Even I rehearse my stories before telling them, yet they just spout whatever comes to mind.
まあ
Considering
お互い目的
we
が
all
あるけど
have something to gain from each other, and my
私が
situation
抱え
is
てる問題だと
relatively more
厄介だわ
complicated. In this relationship that's bound to be short-lived, it's fine if I put in a bit
私
more
は
effort
多め
than
に頑張
you
っ
all.
ても
お嬢さんは
Miss, you're from the Sea of
データ
Data
の海研
Research
究所の人
Institute,
ですか
right? Yes, if you want to know anything about it, you can ask me, Big Sister.
あなた
Oh, Bailu.
もしかして
Do you?
小鹿のよ
Those
う
fawn
な大
like
きな
big ears, a
瞳
tall
に
pink
可愛
tail,
いツインテール
thin ponytails. I knew it was you the moment I saw you. The director was just here yesterday telling us to contact him
白
as
塚
soon as
ユ
he.
ーンちゃんを嫌なこと
What's
があ
wrong?
っ
Did
て
something
研
unpleasant
究所
happen
から
that
逃
made
げ
you
出した
run
んです
away
か
from the institute? Let me tell you a secret. There were times when I hated school too.
私は
I'm not Bailu Yuyun, miss. You
白
got that
塚
all
ユ
wrong.
ウ
The first milk tea is ready. You can
一つ目
drink
が
it
でき
at
ました
first. Please
先
wait a
に飲ん
moment.
で
I
てくださ
contact
いね
him. Wait. The milky liquid splashed high into the air. They landed in all the worst possible places. I'm sorry, Big Sister. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry.
大丈夫です
It's
よ
alright. Leave it to me.
お姉
The
さん
director
が
come
片
to
付け
pick
ます
you
から
up soon. It would be better to go back with the director like this. There's no need to make futile efforts, as time will make people realize the folly of their myopia, and that includes Bailu Yuyun. How could she despise the trust she earned through flattery, yet now realize that it might bring genuine happiness? She thought to herself, lowering her head. Until someone finally kissed her hand.
ごめんなさい
Sorry,
所
director.
長さん
Her legs started moving on their own. One small step, one big step. The wind grew stronger, breathing became somewhat labored, and to keep up with the other's pace, the girl had to lift her head.
夢追い人
Oh, that looks cute. I like how she looks, that young girl.
ヘリアとコラリ
What
は
about Hilya and Collier? You can't leave them there.
それぞれに
We
役
have
目
each
があるか
other
ら
on
ね
each have our own missions. Theirs is to distract the teacher, and mine
私が
is to break
ユ
through
ン
your
先
inner
生
wall.
の心の
あなたどうやら
It seems that I
あ
was
なたの
only
本質だけ
right about your special
読みはず
quality.
やっぱり
You really are
い
that
きな
type
り
that
相手の
blot
弱みを
out
つ
something
いて
that penetrates
自分の
people's
ペースに
emotional
引きずり
guard
込
and
む
lead
タイ
them
プ
by
ね
the nose.
私の先生
I
から
learned
学
this
んだの
technique from my professor. If you want to blame someone,
彼
blame
女に言
her.
ってね
あなたの
Your professor? A full time is of the essence. The world won't end just because of one
ちょっと
conversation.
話す
for
余
the
裕くらいは
time
さすがにあるよね私と彼
So,
女のエ
would
ピソ
you
ードを
like
聞いてみ
to
ない
hear the story about her and me?
うーん
Oh, she looks embarrassed.
あなたの
You're
ペー
in
スにハマっちゃった
control of the
私は
pace. I don't really have a choice
この
here.
余地の
Take you into Central Park. And up. Up. And piano. Something adventure notes. I still don't know what you went through, but if Professor Yuyun can see in me something she once struggled and longed for, or something that might witness my growth on behalf of her future self, then that would be wonderful.
ユン先生に
I
伝え
wanted
たい
to
の
tell
は
Professor Yuyun.
私が不安に
Whenever
な
I
った
was
時
nervous, you
先
would
生
hold
は
my
いつ
hand
も
like
こうやっ
this,
て
making me
手を
believe
握って
that as long as
信
you
じさせてくれたんだ
here, there's no problem in this world
先
that
生
can't
が
be
いれば
solved.
解決できない問題なんてないって
How will
逃
we
げ
do
るっていう
then?
目的以
Feels
外
so
で
good
走
to
るのは
run without running away from any.
気持ちいい振り返っちゃダ
Don't
メ
look back. You didn't hear anything.
よそ者って言ってた
Do you
く
know
せ
where
に
Central Park
セン
is,
トラルパー
outsider?
クの場所
So this is the
ここ
place
だっ
my
たんだ
intuition was right.
勘が当たったそれで
So, the girl, sensing your desire for a definite answer, gently tugged at your hand.
はいはい
Right, say what you want to say.
言
I'm
い
all
たいこと
ears.
があるならいい
私の
My
先生
professor
は
is a genius who's
常に
constantly in the
スポットライ
spotlight.
トを浴びてる天
I
才
am
な
an
の
ordinary person who had to
それに
wait
比
for
べて
2
私
hours
は
at the career
職
assignment
業案
meeting
内所
before
で
she
2
finally
時間も
arrived.
待たされて先生は
Just because she
一
likes
から
to
教え子を
mentor
育てるのが好きっていう
beginners, she
理由
took
で
me under her
私を
wing,
門
gave
下
me a
生
free
として受け
apartment,
入
and
れて
came to my
ただで
place
住め
with
る
my
マンション
senior
まで
to
用意して
bond
く
all
れ
the
た
time. Tell me, are all
しかも
geniuses
よく
particular?
先
変わってる
Strange, that's perfectly normal. I'm not calling myself a genius or anything.
天才を
Just
自称してるわ
fascinated
け
with
じゃない
your
の
professor as an observer.
私は
I really enjoyed the feeling of creating something from nothing and watching small things add up. That applies to a terrarium, a piggy bank, a snack corner, and an empty head that be stuffed with knowledge. To be honest, you're very lucky to have a teacher like that. Yes,
だか
that's
ら
why I cherish
そんな
this
生
life
活
so
を大
much.
切にし先生の教え子になっ
On
てから
every workday since joining her lab, I've been diligently completing tasks assigned by both her and my mentor. On weekends, except for occasional bonding activities, I've mostly stayed at home either digesting books recommended by her or revising my thesis.
そして時は
And time flows past
水の
like
ように
water. I
流れてい
really
った
wanted to say that, but that wasn't the case.
あの頃の私
For
に
me,
とって時
back
間
then,
は
time was more
バラバ
like
ラに切り離された
disconnected,
互いに
unrelated
関係のな
fragments.
い破
Picking
片
them
に過ぎな
up
かった
one by one wouldn't restore a
それを
complete
一つ
version
ず
of
つ拾い
myself.
集めてそして
Once I left
授業や
those
課題
fragments, filled
食
with
事会で埋め
coursework,
尽くされた
assignments,
日
and
常から
bonding
離れて
activities, found
不意に
myself alone in
そ
the
の
cat
破片の隙間で一
between
人になる
fragments.
と
The stress would immediately take over
不
my
安な
body.
私のその不安の由来
It
は
came from the papers
Aksan
covered in
修正して
corrections
メ
and
モを重ねても全然直せ
notations
ない論
that I
文
still
や
couldn't get.
全力を尽くし
I
ても
still couldn't get
結
by
局
from
先
the
生や
tasks
先
where
輩
I
に尻拭い
underperformed
してもらう
despite
羽目
trying
に
my
なる
best,
課
leaving
題
a mess for my teacher and senior to clean up.
そして
And of course, from
迷って
those who
迷って
still look at me with
どうしてい
envy
い
and
かわからない
admiration,
私に
and
向け
fool
ら
my
れる
life feels so
称賛と
confusing
羨
and
ましげな視
directionless.
線そして
And of
迷っ
course,
て
from
迷
those
っ
who
てどうしていいかわからない
given
私
for
に向けられ
different
る
and
称
food
賛と羨ましげな視線
どうですか？
How is it? Are you interested in living? Ah, it's you again. Some people read start where others spend a lifetime to read.
今度帰るときは
Take a different
違う
road
路
back to
線
the
を使おう
apartment from now.
あなた
Mario, hello, Chengshus Jr. Have you thought about what you want to do after graduation? You haven't made up your mind yet. Would you like to schedule a visit our company?
いえ
No,
結
no
構
need.
です
Please ask the other
研
students
究
in the
所の
research
他の学
institute.
生たちに
They're
も
much more
声をか
clever
けて
than
みてください
でも彼ら
what
の
our
先生
teachers
は
isn't. I must have.
言い方を変えま
I
しょう
should rephrase that.
ユウ
Someone
大
who
先
caught
生
the
が日
attention
本
of
の
Boss
相手なんです
Yu
から
must have
何かけた
extraordinary
才能
potential.
をお
You're
持ちなん
different
でしょ
from them.
確かに
I'm
私は
different.
特別なのかもしれない同じデータの海
As
の子供なのに
One of the
私だ
in
け
of
が
the sea of
まとも
data.
な
I'm
生活
the
を手
only
に入
one
れた
who got to live this kind of
研究
life.
所の
As
学生
students
の
of
中
the
でも
Data Science
何の
Institute,
成
I'm
果
the
も
only
出さず
one
に
who could easily
未来
secure
を
my
約
future
束され
without
ているの
having
も
achieved
私だけ
anything yet.
否定はできな
To
い
admit my story is one
私の
that
物語
belongs
は
only to the
幸
fortunate.
運なも他人を思い
Perhaps even
感
my
じた悔しさも本当は無意識
indignation
のうちに
for
抱いた
others
哀
stemmed
れみ
from
なのか
some
もしれない
unconscious,
そんな不
condescending
完全
pity.
な
It
感
was
情
far
は
from pure
共
and
感
thus
されなくて
unworthy
当
of
然だ
empathy.
不安の
The
隙間
width
は
of the stress grew
私の
even
迷い
ever
に
wider
飲み
as
込
it
んで
devoured my
どん
confusion.
どん膨張
Sometimes
して
even the slightest contact with
時に
envious
羨
gazes
望の眼
made
差
it
しを浴び
difficult
るだ
for
け
me
で
to breathe.
そして
To
私は
survive, I began to employ
生きるため
clumsy
に
but surely effective
不器用
strategy.
ながらも
見学資格を
Are you
私
sure you want to give
さすがにま
me
ずい
the
んじゃないか
visiting pass? This doesn't seem right.
大丈夫
I've already vouched for you. As long as you keep it up, you'll be able to impress that merchant. I give it a try then.
やってみるよ
One more thing, please
ハク
say
トに
both
伝えて
to
もらえるか
that
な
he can visit Sweet Tooth at 8 p.m. the day after tomorrow. He
スイ
definitely
ー
find
トテイ
news
ストに行って
worthy
みてっ
material
て
there.
じゃ
Look,
あ
limited
限定
vision
ヤハ
ya
コーラに
Cola
売り
paired
物
with
の
the
新
new
作ゲー
game
ム
and okay.
今夜は
Hey,
きっと
don't look
素
back.
敵
I'm
な
sure
夜に
you
な
two
ります
ladies
よ
will have a wonderful evening.
私があ
How
れだけ
did you
頑張っても
they
ゲットで
couldn't
きな
even
かったのに
snag it with a message?
ちょっとバイト先の店長
Did
と仲良
a
くなった
little
だけですよ
part-time work, plus I'm on good terms with the boss.
最近は
The
午
schedule is
前
packed
も
with
午後も授業
morning
が
and
いっぱい
afternoon
だし
classes, plus you have
先生
assignments
か
from
ら宿
professor.
題も出さ
And
れてた
exactly
み
do you
で
find time for
バイ
part-time
トする時間なんてあ
work?
った？
細かいこ
That's
とは
not
気にし
important.
ない
We
で
should hurry up and
それ
play
よ
the
り
game.
早く
10戦9
9 wins out of 10 matches. Is this that for real?
さすが
Professor
ユ
Yoon
ン
is
先生です
Professor
ね
Yu Yoon. Oh, Chingsu, this is for you.
Soda.
Thank you
親切
for
な
always
さい
taking care of
これ
me.
を
これ
Earrings recommended by
今週の
Fashion
ファッショ
Magazine's
ン誌
editor
編
to
集
see.
部おすす
These
め
are
ナン
quite
バーワンとし
expensive.
て載っ
Where
て
did
た
you
ピ
get the
アス
money?
だから
Don't ask.
バイ
It's
ト
a
したん
side
だ
gig.
ってばみんなが私の
The
ために
smiles
見
everyone
せて
gave
く
me
れる笑
because
顔
of
が
me was
す
so
ごく
touching
キラ
that
キラして
just
たから
looking at them gives me
それを
the
見てい
sense
る
of
だけで
fulfillment like I must have
何か
gained.
確かな充実感を得られたような気がしたこう生きると
After
決めてから
deciding to live this way, I can
私はや
finally
っと
be
思い切り呼吸ができるようになった今日のバイト
today's part-time
やっと終わっ
over. What faces?
仕事終わり
Off work, at home now.
目の
Look at those
感
stock
じすごい
circuits
よ
under your eyes. They're
早く
getting
帰
out
って
of
休んで
control.
ね
ユリア
Oh yeah,
こ
what
の
did
前の
you
件
must
だ
say
けど
about what happened
千葉
before?
キューンさんに
He
送
said
る
he
本
can
を
help you
探してあ
find
げ
a
ても
book
いい
you
っ
want
て
to give.
その代わり
If you
土木でも
were
う少
told
し働いてもら
that
って
you
もい
can
い
work part-time at Antique
オー
Inc.
プンしてか
for
ら
a few
大し
more
た
days.
利
He
益も
said
出て
that
ない
Antique
し
Inc.
た
made
だで手
much
伝
so
うの
far,
は
so
おかしい
he
って
can't really help for free.
そっか
How about this? I go back
Yo,
and think of
帰ったら
something today. See if I can get Professor Yoon to help
してもらえない
promote
かお願い
Antique
してみる
Inc.
よ
This way he
お
you
互い
might
に
find
協
good
力し合
books
えば
in the future, and
先生は
Antique
欲
Inc.
しい本を
might
手
get
に
more
入れられる
visibility
し
thanks to a
で
promotion.
も来
I
週の
remember
水
during
曜
our
日に
chat
テスト
yesterday
があ
you
るっ
mentioned
て
you have
昨
an
日
exam
話して
next
たよね
Wednesday. Why don't you put this
この
matter
件は
aside
一
for now
旦
and
後回
focus
し
on
にして
preparing studying for your
テ
exam
ストに
first.
集中した方がいいんじゃない？
頭は
To decide.
一度手放
No
したもの
one
が
can guarantee that
元の場所に戻
what
って
one
くるという
seeks will
保
still be
証
there
は
after
ない
one lets it go.
今
It
持っ
takes
て
all
い
my
る
time
ものを
just to
握
hold
り
on
し
to
める
what
だ
I
けで
already
も
have.
精一杯
How
な
could
の
I
に
possibly have the luxury
そ
of
の
doing
余
as I
裕はど
please?
こにあるでも失
However,
敗には
since
な
I
ら
have
ない
adapted to failure, I
きっと
suppose I can adapt to
疲
exhaustion
れ
as
ても
well.
大丈夫
I
両方
wanted
と
all
も
of
なんと
course,
か
don't
してみる
worry.
よ
If you
ま
know
だ1
that
歳
I'm
だし
young, so my
体
body
力
can
だけは
withstand
自信がある
anything.
また無理し
Okay,
ちゃって
here you go again.
コ
Get a
ーヒーでも
coffee.
買わないと
So she overworked herself extremely.
こんばんは
Evening.
アンジェもう上がります
Getting
よ
off work, so no matter what
どんな
excuse
理
you
由
use
があっても
this time,
今
I
日は
won't
コー
make
ヒーを出
the
しませ
coffee.
ん
We only set bread in the
そ
evening
もそも
anyway.
どうしても
Did Filian know?
ダメ
Then why you
ど
push
うして
yourself so
熱
hard?
い願いを
Put
宿
those
した
eyes
瞳
filled
のた
with
めと
hope, put those
幾千
the
の人々の
unrestrained
笑
theft
顔の
of
ためと
countless souls for you,
あなたの
for
た
every
め
dream we've ever dared to
そして
chase.
やめてくだ
Don't
さ
be
い
so
じゃ
heavy.
あ
Then for Chengsu, for Professor
親
Yun,
切
for my
姉さんの
beloved
ため
Oxia. Just once
嘘ば
listen
っ
to
か
me.
りつくんですから今度こそ
This time
本
is
当に
really the
最後で
last
すよ
time.
ありがとう鉄は熱い
To
うちに
strike by the
痛め
iron
た
is hard. I pull an all-nighter
今夜
to
は
work on
徹
the
底して
promotional
古くの
plan
宣
for
伝
Antique
企
Ink.
画を考
All
えてみ
goes
な
well, Professor Yun can see
う
it
まく
right
いけ
after
ば
the
明
presentation
日の
tomorrow
朝の報告会
morning.
後にユン復習は
Studying can be pushed back a bit.
ちょっと
Other
後回し
people's
にしても
matters are
大
more
丈夫か
important.
なみんなの役に
The
立
tapes
つため
Aaron
なら
lying is
嘘つ
acceptable.
きにな心が背
The
負う
price
代
that
価なんて些
the
細
heart
なもの
must
だ
bear can
他
not
人の
even
期
be
待を裏
weighted
切る
on the
罪
same
悪感
scale
に比べ
against the
たら
guilt of letting
天
others
に役
down.
価値すらない 黒い
Like, what?
犬
Call it a black dog. Yep.
これは
Did the dog
全部あの
fall
犬
off
の
the
仕業なのすご
What a
く散らか
mess.
っ
The
てる
morning presentation will definitely
これ
postpone.
じゃあ明日の朝の
Whatever
報
it's
告
delayed
会が
by
延
a
期
few
になっ
hours
ち
or
ゃう
moved to another day, it all
数時間遅れるか
all
別の
affect
日
the
になる
time
かもし
Professor
れない
Yun reviews my
今
proposal.
夜復習
Do I
しておく
study all tonight? No, it's already
もう
Thursday.
木曜
We
日だ
can't
し
bother Professor
週
Yun on the
末はユン
weekend.
先生
So
に迷
either
惑をか
I
けら
either
れ
show
ない
her
か
the
ら
proposal
明日
tomorrow
中
or
に見
next
せないと
Monday,
来週
but
の
that's next
月
time
曜
on
になっちゃ
Wednesday.
う
My head's all over the
で
place.
もでも
Can't
立
stop.
ち止まった
If
ら
I stop, this
私は
uncontrollable
また制御
reality
で
will
きな
drag me
い
back
現
into
実
the
に
abyss of
不
distress
安
once
の深
again.
淵にとりあえず
Never mind that now.
体を
I
動
need
か
to
さな
get
き
my
ゃ
body moving fast.
これは
10日目研究
Day 10. Subject woke up doing research to use observation.
うつろな
Appear
表情と周
appeared
期的な手足の痙攣を
catatonic
見せ
with intermittent
また音声
body
分析シス
twitches
テム
and
によると
constant mutterings. Voice analysis system preliminarily identified Momoe as the torment to be incapable of self-care, unable to leave the pod.
127
Day
日目
127 woke up doing research Chengxu's observation, appeared catatonic and was unresponsive to external stimuli. Determined to be incapable of self-care, unable to leave the pod.
カプセルから
The
出す
save
不
is
可能と判断
probably from Senadina.
250
Day
日
259 woke up doing research Chengxu's observation, alternated between banging the pod's wall in rage and curling up in sorrow, determined to be emotionally unstable, unable to leave the pod.
458
Day 458 suddenly woke up doing research Yun's observation, finally banging on the pod's wall, making her cry in fear, determined to be immediately intimidated of research personnel, unable to leave the pod. Day 580 woke up doing research Yun's observation and greeted her, a heart-turning change.
時間的
Judging
に
by the time, this
こ
must be
れは
Professor
ユン
Yun
先生
Thanks
と
his
親切
observation
姉さん
card
が
of
作成
me.
した
But why
私の
can't I
観
recall
察記
anything
録だよ
that
ね
happened before day 580?
困惑と不
Beyond
安が
confusion,
心を
panic
覆う
also clung to my heart.
それ
The
は
intense pulsing
私
drowning
の
out
心
my
臓
own
の音を
heartbeat.
完全に書き消 影に触れた
The
瞬
moment I
間
touch a shadow, an
言葉では
indescribable
表せない
feeling
感
gripped
情
my
が
heart.
無数の歳
A
月によ
sorrow,
って
pain,
積み重ね
longing,
られ
and
てきた悲
solitude
しみや痛み
accumulated over countless days and nights almost crushed me in an instant.
一瞬あなたの
Will
名を
not disgrace your name.
汚したり
Will follow in your footsteps and you to watch
あなた
over
の
them.
道を涙を
Holding
こらえ
back
て
tears, trying again and
何度も
again.
何度も
But how long is left? How much longer will it take me to reach its end?
卵を
Like
石に
throwing
投げ
eggs
つけるよ
against a
うに
stone,
何度
failing
繰り
time
返
and
しても
time
失敗
again.
するだけ重ねた
The
傷
fear
跡から
born
生ま
from
れた
layers
恐
of
怖は
scars ultimately
や
began
が
a
て
became a distorted
歪んだ執念と
obsession,
なり
devouring the heart that
昼
fell
夜
into
に
an
落ちた心を飲み
eternal night,
込んだ
leaving only a sorrowful sound that rose from
心
deep
の
within
奥
my
底か
heart.
ら湧き上がってくる悲しみの音
Reverberate
色
that
は
my
魂に
soul
あなたのため
do. I absolutely cannot
絶
fail.
対失敗できない
Resonance of the passport found burst of steady. Professor Zuyun's voice director. Sorry, I messed up again. Devil. I thought you burst into tears, out a big mouth, drop into his cot, refused to get up for half the day. Since you didn't, does that mean you blamed yourself so much you can't even cry anymore? Or fine, no. I already cried for 3 hours. I went out of tissues within 10 meters, so I didn't dare cry anymore. I have tissues here. That's perfect. You, leaving today aside, I've always wondered. You've been out of the stasis pod and working here for a whole year, so why are you still working on eggshells every day? Too nervous even to look me in the eye. It's as if you've done something wrong. No more like let someone down in the past. Fail to live up to someone's trust. That seems closer to the truth. But you're a child of the sea of data. You're not supposed to have a past, are you? I don't know. I just feel like I still don't have the courage or ability to face you naturally. Like you said, I've only been out of the stasis pod for a year. When I first arrived, I felt relief knowing I had talented genius to guide me, and a dependable director carrying the burden. I thought I could just stay backstage and cheer for all of you on the front lines. But now you have suddenly pushed me onto the stage. The spotlight follows me, and every step I take feels like I'm about to lose my footing. I've actually asked you many times in my heart why you chose me, but I've never once said it out loud. Is it because I admire you too much, or because saying it out aloud feels like questioning your decision? I still don't know. I only know that since you've chosen this path for me, I absolutely cannot collapse on stage. If I fall, the one embarrassed is you who put me there. Tiptoeing and treading carefully is the only way I can stay on the stage at all, and yet I still embarrassed myself today. That's so? You didn't lose your legs by falling on stage, and the audience down below might have just taken it as a special little performance. I didn't put you on stage because I wanted you to treat work like a life or death pact or high-risk gamble. If that's really how you see our relationship, wouldn't that make me a gambler trying to win big with a tiny bet? For the record, I never thought that you're the one who said it. What I wanted was for you to treat the trust I gave you as a romantic promise, and fulfilling that promise is simple. Just give me a small surprise. Whatever it comes early or late doesn't matter. Time is part of what makes a surprise beautiful. It doesn't only fade, it accumulates. I believe you can lead this institute toward a better future.
ユーン先生
I
に
didn't
も
know Professor
迷った
would
時期が
tears
あったん
lost.
だでも
But she's
彼女は彼女で
who she is, and I only be who I am.
私にしかなれない
Resonance of the past, part 2. Out of the entire speech I wrote, Professor Yuyun ended up using just one line. If you have any questions, feel free to write to Yuyun's classroom. Once she got on stage, she just spoke whatever popped into her head, but it somehow worked beautifully. In other words, whatever I was involved or not, the outcome would have been exactly the same. I thought she turned to me afterward, but she never brought it up all day. Don't tell me she thinks such disgrace shouldn't be aired in public and plans to make up for it with a strict lecture tonight. What are you mumbling about now? Since you knew Chengsu and I were coming over, why didn't you buy snacks in Alacol ahead of time? Ian, are you even curious about that cardboard box we left downstairs around the corner? I handpicked everything at the snack shop. After I got home, I was still reflecting on what happened this morning. This morning? What happened this morning? Shouldn't you be reflecting on the fact that you weren't prepared at all to host guests? Luckily, Chengsu saw that coming. Now we can enjoy a nice cozy team building. Team building? Why are we doing team building at my place? My place is a mess. Chengsu's a spotless and yours, well, at least neither of us lives here. Okay. Don't worry, I help you tidy up before we leave. Anyway, tonight's team building dream is movie and game night. Since it's your first time joining soon, you get to decide what we watch. Then, how about a horror movie? Professor Yu, my hand feels a little numb. Don't say stuff like that right when the creepy music is about to the climax. And she hiding in Chengsu's arms again. Movie's only 50 minutes in. Then I didn't expect you to be good at action games. I didn't expect that Professor Yoon is not only bad at action games, she's also bad at story-heavy games. What's that supposed to mean? Say it again clearly. I mean, the warning sign is huge, right there. You still walk the protagonist straight into the water 5 times. That's pretty defiant. It's called scientific curiosity. I walked into the water to see if there was a hidden achievement, and since nothing popped up, that's clearly the developer's fault. I think the teacher has a point. Now then, Cian, please deliver an important address on the teacher's glorious record of 10 straight losses tonight. Professor Yuyun really needs to stop seeing her whole body with the character, and maybe also stop bursting into tears every time I land a hit. 10 straight loses? No, I actually won the last match. And when you really not denying the bursting into tears part. Professor, you've gone. Before Professor Yun accidentally kicked over the console, there were only 5 seconds left. An ultimate move animation takes about 3 seconds. Even if she managed to trigger it, there was no way she beat me with my full health bar. Cian, you've already won 9 times. Can't you cut a little slack for your adorable professor who's been working non-stop all day? But before we played, you said games aren't child's play. What an upside down word. I'm done. See you tomorrow. Wait, we're ending the night like this? What about the speech draft? And the number 1 rule under Professor Yoon is no work talk during break time. We see you tomorrow.
私に
Why? Really the
優
stuff all
し
your
くさ
kind?
れる価値はあるの？
So we are at the test report. Test subject 0. First assessment results, cognitive and logical reasoning command. The subject's attention is easily drawn by irrelevant details, showing scattered and erratic thinking. During the test, she frequently fell silent, gave answers unrelated to the question. Emotional stability and stress tolerance common. In simulated high-pressure scenarios, the subject showed signs of anxiety and withdrawal. When receiving critical feedback, she overreacted, slipped quickly into self-doubt, and struggled to manage stress, social collaboration, and communication. Common. The subject lacked basic social intuition. In group tasks, she displayed a strong tendency to isolate herself. She could follow team-based instructions, but her mind often drifted during execution, harming team efficiency and coordination. Basic skill and knowledge preparedness. Comment. The subject was completely unfamiliar with the standard tools and operating systems used in Oxia, behaving as though she were immersed in a fantasy world disconnected from reality. Work motivation and sense of responsibility. The subject showed emotional indifference toward questions of work, duty, and compensation. When asked about the career plan, she lacked even the basic sense of responsibility needed to create value for Oxia. Overall, conclusion and recommendations. Conclusion: not qualified for employment. Recommended to return to the stasis pod for continued monitoring. Special note: excluded from the official report. Episode description: via preparing to initiate the transfer process, I, Yuyun, possibly heralded it. My reason is simple. I disagree with the career allocation commitment's conclusion. This report only measures what she cannot do and completely ignores what she is. Oxia is already stable and efficient enough. It doesn't need another walking corpse. As of today, she is officially my student.
そう
So, No one actually wanted to give me a job. Professor Yu hadn't intervened. But my
私
only
に仕
fate had
事を
been
与え
to
る気も
return
な
to the
かったん
stasis
だ。
pod for observation.
まずい。
Oh no, the
今
dog
は
is
いな
gone.
くなっち
The
ゃったし、
data monitoring
データ監視室
room
も
hasn't
散ら
been
かった
stored.
まま
If
だ。
I stay any longer, I'd be
この
taken
ま
for
ま
a
ここにいたら
criminal.
私。
No, I have to leave.
だね。
To escape
逃げ
before
なきゃ。
Baxia arrives. To
Eika
some,
が来る前に。
nobody can find me.
前からエイカが来て
Baxia is coming from ahead. I
別
must
の
find
方向に
another
逃げ
way
ないと。
out. Safe.
いつもの場所に行こう。
I go to my usual base. It must be empty. Oh, I don't think we were on this. Don't think we walk up here. I'm not sure.
ずいぶん
This place
広い
is
場所
pretty
ね。
spacious. Mind if I join?
お邪魔してもいいかしら。断らないの
No
ね。
answer. I take that as
Tsumaり,
as a
OK
yes.
ということね。ねえ、夢追い人。
Then what if I told you that whatever lured you
あ
on
なたが
to
デ
the
ータ
data
監視室に
monitoring
誘
room
導された
and
のも、
panicked you into running away was just a hallucination? Would you believe
すべ
me?
てが幻覚のせいだったって言ったら、
I supposed to believe.
恐れながら
I frankly told the
今
professor
夜の
about
出
my
来事を
encounters
先生に話した。
today, but she gave an answer that
でも、
was beyond my
先生の
imagination
返
and
事
could
は
also be
それ
dismissed
こ
as
そ幻
hallucination.
覚の誤作動で鳴
Apart
った
from the accident that
警報
triggered
以外
alarm,
の異
there
常
was
はなか
nothing
った
unusual in
デ
the
ータ
data
監視室
monitoring
で
room, and I just stood
私は
there
た
for
だぼ
15
ーっと
minutes.
してでも
Professor
ユ
Yun
ー
and
ン
changed
先
his
生と
recordings,
新
my
設姉さん
social
の音声記録や
assessment
私の
board,
適正レ
cover
ポ
all
ートを
materials are
確認し
personal
ました。
verified, and that dog too.
だったら、
Then why couldn't you remember what happened in the audit logs, but only
私が
all
細
the
かい
times
こ
I
とで
blamed
何
you
度
for
もあなた
little
を責め
things?
たことだけは
もしかして
Perhaps every time I fell
安定
asleep in
カ
the
プセルで
stasis
眠
pod
るたび
is
に
resets the
記憶が
memories
リセ
from
ッ
my
トされ
brief
てたんで
moments
しょう
of
か。
consciousness, when I can remember all
私
the
の記
events
憶に
after
残って
day
るのは
580.
自分はバ
Who
グ
do you
だらけ
think
で
you are, a data
眠
life
るた
form
びに
written
初期
by
化される
someone?
生き物なんだ
Not
って
only are
言
you
いたい
buggy
の
as heck, but you even format
誰が
yourself
作っ
every
たデー
time
タ
you
生命
sleep,
体だと想像物を
casting
愛情を
equation
込
to
め
the world
て
without
丁寧
any
に育てず
riches
に
and
勝手に
humane
外の世界に
nurturing.
放
How
り
is
出
such
す
a
創
cried
造
any
心なんて
different from a naughty
適当
child
にゴミを
littering?
捨てるわ
やっぱり
Oh, I really am tired.
違う
No,
わよ
that definitely wasn't
あなたの
about
こと
you.
を
It
ゴ
was
ミ扱
just a
いす
spur
る
of
は
the
ずないで
moment
しょ
metaphor, so don't
ち
take
ょ
it
っ
so
とした例
literally.
えなんだから細かいこと
The
ばか
only
り覚
reason
えて
you
る
only
理由
remember
は一つし
what
か
trial
ないわ
matters is that you love peace
あ
and
なたは
quiet.
静
You
かに
enjoy
寝
your
るのが好
sleep,
き
and
な
I
の
was too
に
willing,
私
full
の
and
わがままに
reckless.
付
You've
き合
put
わ
up
されちゃって
with me for so long, that's
長
why
い
you
間
remember
我慢してたから
them so clearly.
確かに
Did
長い
put
間
up
我
with
慢
them
して
for
た
a
けど
while, but I don't think
り
enough. Stop
先
saying
生の
things that
心を
hurt
傷
my
つける話は
feelings.
そこまデータの海か
I
ら
am
生ま
born
れ
in
た
the
人
sea
た
of
ちは
data must be placed in the
普通の
stasis
生
pod
活
for
を送れる
observation
か
to
どうかを
confirm
確
whatever they
認
are
するた
capable
め
of
に
living
安定
normal
カプセ
life.
ルの中で
Occasionally,
観察され
there
なきゃ
are
ならない
cases
の
where individuals cannot leave the
たま
pod
に
due to
長時間
prolonged
眠っ
periods
ちゃっ
of
て
sleep.
あなたには
But
一
you were
番
definitely the
驚か
most
されたわ
impressive among them, staying in there for a full
589日も眠り続けるなん
589
て
days. There were times when I couldn't
何度も
stand it
装置
anymore.
を
I
壊
wanted
し
to
て
smash
無
through
理
the
やり
pod
起
and
こそう
force
と
you
した
to
く
wake
らいよ
up, but I wasn't capable of
まあ
doing that, even if I
私には
succeeded.
壊
I
せ
might
な
not
いし
have woken up
壊
anyway.
せたと
ごめんなさい
どうして謝
I
る
say
の
that
590
we were even
回
as
目
far
に会っ
back
た
as
時か
our
らお互い様ってわけじ
590th
ゃない
meeting.
それじゃあ
Now let me ask you again, what if I told you that whatever lured you to the
あなた
data
をデータ監視
monitoring
室
room
に
and
誘導されたの
panicked you
も
into running away was
怯えな
just
が
a
ら逃げ出そうと
hallucination?
したのも信じて
Would
く
you
れる
believe me? Don't believe you, or that must be true.
なら
Then go ahead and leave me
先生
behind.
を置いて
Return
お
to
いて
the data
今すぐ
monitoring
デー
room
タ
and
監
see
視
the
室に
truth.
戻ってみなさ
See
い
with your own eyes.
その
You can
目で
even
真
ask
真
Alan,
実
the
を
monitoring
確
room
かめてみればいい
administrator,
わ
to relieve the
警備
audio
員の
logs in
母
your
の
social
あの時
adaptation
の音声記
assessment
録と
report from back
あなたの
then.
適正ただし
However, if the
そこで
truth
見た
you
真
ultimately
実
see
が
is exactly as
最
I
終
had
的に
said, you
私
must
の言う
accept the
通りだったと
consequences
し
of
たら
betraying my trust. After that,
私たちは
we can
もう
only
一度
start from scratch and
一
rebuild
から
our
信
trust
頼を
once
育て
again.
直していく必要があるわねこれまでただ
I'm
で貸し
taking
てた
back the
マンショ
student
ンを出
apartment
て
I let you stay in for free. You move in with me, wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning to make me breakfast, be ready to carry me on your back, and run to the research institute when I oversleep, the housework in the evening, and be tasked
夜
with
は家事
food
週末は
cleaning
大掃除ってところかしら
on
私
weekends.
のわがまま
You
を
can't
全
meet
部
all
聞
my
かないなら
selfish demands.
二度と先
It'd be
生
the
と
end
呼
of
ばないで
our teacher-student relationship.
ユン先生
Soon, I won't
私
abandon
はあ
you,
なた
nor
を
will
置
I
いていっ
change
た
my
りしません
mind.
し今さら
At
真実を
this
確か
point,
め
there's
て
no
も
need to
意味がないん
ascertain
だ
the
と思いま
truth.
す
If you're
ユン先
boldly
生がそ
uttering
こまで
such
言うな
words,
ら
then means you have
きっ
molded
と
the
真実を
truth
先
into
生
what
の
you
都
claim
合
it
の
to
いいように
be.
作っ
Hey, you're bad. Forget it. I won't keep going in circles with you. As a teacher, I should focus more on my students' mental health. So, then, do you wish to die? Answer me. 3, 2, 1.
私
Bye. You don't have the courage to answer right away, then live the life well. Ouch, why is that so odd? Darn it, stop treating me like a fool. If I hadn't been on working tips all month, and if I hadn't told Chengsu I'd be better to talk to you in person, I wouldn't have backed on until now.
ごめんなさい
Navi, I know you haven't gotten used to life in the spotlight yet, but I must tell you this, beyond this tiny stage, both the fortunate and unfortunate live on the same principle. No scheming is needed, just a slight shift in mindset, a single misstep, and people can create the most devastating tragedies for themselves. But fortunately, everyone has the freedom to choose whatever they want to do this, yet you are you so foolish to push yourself off a cliff, huh?
私
I
はた
just
だ
wanted to make
自分な
up
りの
for all
やり
my
方で
shortcomings in my own
過
way.
ちを
During those 589 days waiting for you to merge, it wasn't just me and Chengsu who worked hard for you, but also many other researchers. All of us extended the same hopes to other children of the Sea of Data. Your career counselor was the primary reason that you ultimately became my student. After carefully consideration in your personal circumstances and fully comparing various job opportunities, she mustered up the courage to recommend you to me. Even before you, I had already rejected 41 people. Before Shang-Chu, I had rejected 113. I chose Shang-Chu and you for the same reason. Both of you were completely blank slates. Your intelligence, beauty, and thoughtfulness were merely the cherries on top. Remember this, that both good fortune inculcated and lifted your sleeping self to my side was the love from all those you've never known or met. If you don't want to let them down, then acknowledge your own fortune and press forward along the cliff of doubt and fear. Only then, at the edge of the cliff, will you see a world more enchanting than confusion, more magnificent than fear. After that, I want you to turn back and tell everyone you met on your return trip about everything you've seen in detail. To hell with mistakes, failures, and imperfections. There's no law of nature that says failing 100 times makes someone worthless. When it comes to experience, she far surpasses those who failed only 10 times. When it comes to her mindset, she's far more positive than those who failed only 1,000 times. Even if you failed 10,000 times, I always find a reason to praise you. I only have one request. Don't deliberately throw yourself off a cliff. As long as you cherish yourself, I couldn't care less if you're lying face up or down. There are more interesting things ahead than mistakes and failures. Want to see them? It's a matter of getting up and moving. Nothing too complicated. Professor Yoon, I won't let you down anymore. Put out your hand and make a fist. Are you going to hit my hand with a ruler? Why do you carry a ruler around? Tell me, what did you grab? I feel like I didn't grab anything. And tell me how it feels. My fingers are now completely pressed against my palm without any gasp. It feels very fulfilling. And you know about the gasp reflex? When you place anything in a baby's palm, they will gasp it tightly. You can even lift an entire baby up with a single finger that they're holding on to. During this process, the baby has no awareness whatsoever, but instinct tells them that arms are too big and heavy to control with precision, but hands are just right. Curl your 4 fingers, bend your thumb. It's so simple, yet you're able to embrace an entire world in your palm, along with yourself that gives you fulfillment and warmth. Lucian, when you're feeling uneasy about not doing things well, try giving yourself a palm-sized hug. And I always assign you work that's beyond your capabilities, because you've surprised me with what you can achieve. As a teacher, I will continue to have high expectations of you. Don't let yourself down. I fear making mistakes and failing because I don't want to disappoint those who matter to me. Once they're disappointed, I become worthless. It's hard to imagine that such negative thoughts have supported my entire life up until now. I was completely unaware that they had disguised themselves as being forcefully restrained restricting the growth of my soul. Fortunately, these shadows trying to drag me into the abyss weren't as strong as my dear teacher. I will also will take your words today to heart, but better to write them on a sticky note and stick it somewhere most visible at home. That's so embarrassing. Don't you dare put that up. If Chengxu sees it, how can I act cute and whiny when I see her? I should have just let Chengxu talk to you. Why did I have to get them out? I'm just setting myself up for trouble. This won't do. You must swear to the heavens right now. If you dare to tell anyone what I said today, especially Chengxu, we end our teacher-student relationship immediately. Hurry up and making off with your face, or I cry right here. That was the story of my first samsara, and it was also the first lesson taught to me by Professor Yuyun. Although those precious memories could not be inherited in subsequent samsaras, they created a delightful surprise that would go on at the beginning of each samsara. The moment I opened my eyes, I was filled with the courage to meet the world without delay. As for the truth about that night, the all-knowing system operator left me hanging. Is mere speech mixed with truth and lies really enough to dilute the intensity of love? Anyway, keep this backstory as a secret between me and Professor Yuyun. As for this young lady before me who has yet to become my teacher, this is hilarious. How can your teacher be so funny? I mean, did such an adorable teacher just make you swear not to tell anyone else? I'm sure she will forgive me since the person listening to the story is just as adorable as she is. You really aren't afraid of the divine punishment, are you? You know, maybe she'll forgive me for a second reason other than you being as adored her. Or will that reason now you agree to? Would you believe me? But why are you looking at me so tenderly? I'm not your teacher. Wait, considering the attitude toward me, this possibility doesn't seem so far-fetched. Do outsider and alien extend to those from parallel universes? Then teacher will forgive her only because she told the story to her teacher from a different universe. And that's me. Now I understand why I felt that I had so much in common with her teacher. Fun, that logic actually checked out. Starting to believe it. Wait, what are you doing, you? Is it really the time to be mulling over this? Let's leave that fear aside for now. I must say, it's quite something that two people facing contrasting problems end up taking the same wrong approach to solve them. Quite a coincidence between us, huh? Yeah, but I'm not sharing this story to tie you down with fate. I just want to prove to you that you feel tired, it's okay to take a break. That's because I'm someone you can trust, and the same goes for Polly and Helia. Professor Yuyu, just tell us information of the important when you can. Helped me so much, and now you're still being considerate about my feelings. Whatever, a 40 to 50% chance beats just 10 to 20%. Besides, in all the people I've met so far, she's the most likely to accept those things. I stop now. What was the point of finding all those steps before? Failing to respond accurately when time demands it is as dangerous as deliberately committing crime, and I've already made quite a few mistakes trying to respond to the demands of times. So I'm going to run alongside all of you. I won't give up this chance to make up for my mistakes and earn credits. Then you should look forward to what I have to offer. I let you see the arc that will carry diving across the turbulent sea with your own eyes. After a while. This is my secret laboratory. While it may not be on the scale of a proper lab, you'll be making a huge mistake if you dismiss it as a secret base that Brett converted the basement into. Getting all cocky as soon as you're back home, huh? Seems like you're the type who needs affirmation. By the way, this isn't even your home, right? Just look at all these piled up manuscripts, equipment left running, and that big thing over there. Each of these items is quite remarkable. I guess I shouldn't understand you after all. Don't worry, we have plenty of experience visiting research facilities. We won't mess with your documents or equipment. So go ahead and mess with them. I mean, please feel free to look through everything.
それって
Wouldn't that be
失礼にならない？
別に
It's perfectly fine, isn't it? Someone in
私ある偉い
friendship
人
once
が
said
言ってた一言を
something I
気に入
really
ってる
like. Talk is cheap, show me
口
the
先
code.
の言葉はどうだから力を
Who's
抜
that
き
partner?
なよ
Being
ヘリ
in
ア
Article 8
喋るのが
doesn't
苦
mean
手でも
lacking wit.
頭が悪い
There
って
are
わけ
plenty
じゃ
of
ない
smart
んだ
people
し
who prefer to let facts
事
and
実や
data
データで
to
真実を
talking.
語り
Besides,
た
we've
がる
got the
賢
green
い
flag
人だって
to
い
check
るんだ
everything out, so let's not get too hung up on
さらに
formality.
本人も了承してるのに
Professor, you can start whenever you're ready. You don't have to wait for us to finish
私たち
reading
が
the
資料を
materials.
読み終えるの
そんなのダメ。
That won't do. Just like you, how you suddenly revealed you outsiders and aliens. What I'm about to tell you is 100 times more shocking. I don't want to frighten you. Consider this necessary bit up my groundbreaking discovery. Please don't worry about the etiquette. Take your time looking. Look carefully. Look to your heart's content. Beautiful and kind lady, this is also my quest of a lifetime, so please. Okay.
この数
This number, impressive. The unit of analysis
時
is
間単
actually
位で分
ours.
析したの？夢追い人
Jane, would you like to see what's over here? The first volume should be. Sorry, there are too many of them. It's probably buried under this deck.
私は技
I'm not
術
a
者じゃない
technical
から
person, so I certainly
きっと
understand
自力でこんな複雑な計算を見るより
such
直
complex
接コラリーに結
extrapolations
論
more
を聞いた
slowly
方
than
が早いんだよ
just
ね。
asking Holly for a conclusion.
この
However, I
資料
can
の
tell she
山を
put in
見
a
る
lot
で
of effort just by
ユ
looking
ー
at
が
the
どれだけ
big
頑
stack
張
of
ったのか
papers. To be so young yet so
この
focused,
絶え間なく
documenting
記
and
憶しながら計算し続ける
extrapolating
集中
without delay or interruption. That's just
本当にす
impressive.
ごい
It
よ。
seems there are
努力家の
brilliant,
天才は
hardworking minds everywhere.
へえやるね
Not bad at all. Reminds
中
me
学
of
時
my
代の
middle
私に匹敵するよ
days. Okay. Yeah, me good option. The manuscript was filled with amusing annotations such as, what time do you think it is, Yuyun? How dare you feel sleepy? Drowsiness wants to sleep, but will you? You absolutely must not sleep. Such phrases were scattered throughout, and
メモに
right
続い
after
てる
those amusing
落書きみたいな
annotations,
変
there
換
are
ノー
ink
ト
marks that look like when scribbled. Seems like she fell asleep by writing, huh? I didn't know
ユー
Professor
先生
Yuyun
に
had
も
this
そんな
side
一
to
面
her.
があったんだね
Awful looking. Unlike the things that were clearly academic in nature, this weapon that was the epitome of technology development seemed out of place in the cramped laboratory.
ユ
Why
ー
would
先生は
Professor
な
Yuyun
んで
have
こ
this?
んなも
Who
の
is she
を
planning to blast to bits now? You glance at the drop at Yuyun, then at the large weapon in front of you. No one instigated you to do this. Your purpose was simple, even though you already knew the conclusion. You just wanted to compare it to Professor Yuyun's height. No. You could almost call that mean. Yeah, of course. Inside each cardboard box there were small devices of various shapes and sizes. You took out 2 of them and examined them carefully.
エネルギーバ
An
ンド
energy
と
bracelet and we have no future special body edition. The first one is easy to understand, but the latest name is better
後者の名
particular.
前は箱の中身
If
が
everything
全
in
部
the
ユー
box
ン
was
先生
amended
の
by
発明
Professor
品だ
Yun,
とし
she
た
must
ら
have put an unimaginable amount of effort. Look at what this one. Oh. If Chengshu was here, she might trigger Professor's base code at mealtime. Professor would unleash a free move spoil routine on her. Well, that's what happens when you hand all the budget authority to Chengshu. Someone would tailor her tactics to each person. When it comes to dealing with Professor Yuyun, Chengshu only uses the super soft approach. Although we're often told you're growing, you need to eat more. Even professors and my portions combined can't match Chengshu's. She needs plenty of fuel for intense stamina training. No wonder she's someone who can sneak up on a Valkyrie without making a sound. That ended up being terrible for Corley, because after that he has started tracking her into more intense training seasons every day. Every year Chengshu sends me a short day university cake. Phew, it'd be nice if she knocked first instead of teaming up with Professor Yuhyun to sneak to my bedside, singing to me and then shove cake into my mouth. I often wondered, when was the moment Layla and I parted ways? If it all came down to me wearing a brighter cloth, like a seed was died with various pains, but eventually blossomed into widely different petals. Doesn't that mean the workings of the world are no different from rolling dice? Layla and I once hesitated in the same thought. Why move forward? Why say goodbye? But along the way, whenever I sank into the mud, countless hands lifted me back up, filling my heart little by little, and her quiet silhouette was among them. Maybe she's waiting for me to confirm an answer she refuses to face herself. Would she let me think that? My impression of
私にとって先
To
生と
me,
親
she and
切姉
Shinji
さ
are
ん
more
は
family than
友
friends,
達や
an
教師より
instructor.
家族
And
に近
when
い
Professor
存在
Yoon
なんだ。
first called me big sister, I
先生
panicked,
にい
but
きな
looking
り
back on it,
お姉さんって呼
sister
ばれた
actually
時は
describes
焦った
us
けど、
as
よく考
is it
え
too
て
late
み
to
ると
change my mind?
私たちの今の関係は姉妹っぽいかも。
Like I said, I want to do Yoon's left. Except. In short, none of the sufficient intervention methods described above can affect with tension. A full sea of data corruption event unfolds in 4 stages, with formation, with opening, monster emergence, and with closure. Throughout the entire process, no energy release is observed. This means every singular unit involved can be treated as an isolated system that obeys energy conservation. However, a rift will close on its own only when the monster that emerges from it is defeated by the Knight of the Gods. Among all known countermeasures against Sea of Data corruption, only the power of the God and the Knight can fully erase abnormalities. This suggests that their power belongs to the same system as the force that drives the Sea of Data corruption. The following chart shows real-time monitoring data from pyroelectric sensor supporting this hypothesis, so Sea of Data resurgence too. So can I with formation self be viewed as a sign of energy imbalance within the system? To test this paper attempts microscopic analysis. If divine power and Sea of Data corruption are treated as the same substance, mirror image particle types at a microscopic level, then according to Party, non-conversation is symmetry breaking would occur. This manifests as originally here a large question mark and several handwriting criticisms appear. Now they are blotted with ink, but they faintly show phrases such as nonsense and heretical. No good, this entire experimental report is unstable. You can't see the stars at all from inside this lab. That's the one thing I really hate about the secret base. Dad used to say that choosing scientific research means choosing loneliness. Researchers get sad, helpless and frustrated. Sometimes they want to tear all these useless papers to pieces, but even if they toss them onto the floor, one sheet at a time, once they come down, they still have to pick them all back up. So at a time like this, Dad would go stargazing. If the god want to give a civilization to a planet, it must first give it at least one companion star with a stable orbit, something its people can observe and study. When they see it, they understand that the universe can be understood, the truth can be sought, and that we are not alone. But right now I feel so alone. That our research isn't in the sky, it's in the most mysterious and most dangerous sea, a sea named after data should theory be analyzed through mathematics. I still want to know what lies within it, but this time I can't find the satellite that should be there. Dad, Mom, where's the Sea of Data taking you? Where are you now? So her parents were also got missing in the Sea of Data, from what it looks like, probably from such a rift. Union's experimental report version 2 exam. Compared to the initial draft, this version removes misleading speculation and unnecessary analysis, excluding descriptions irrelevant to the final conclusion. This greatly improves the report's readability. An anxious is hypothetically particle where oscillation can effectively transfer its energy density to Sea of Data corruption particles, thereby blending the divine power particles with kinetic energies. Inflationary fluctuations can generate the longitudinal modes of many vector gauge bosons. These gauges bosons absorb axions, gaining a third polarization state. If this mechanism is used to explain observed Sea of Data corruption effects, then the coupling between inflations and vector field strength can give rise to transverse modes. This coupling amplifies tachyonic stability, causing the transverse polarization to grow exponentially and reach its maximum at the end of inflation. Whatever divine power particles or sea of data corruption particles substitute into the gauge bosom parameters, the resulting electromagnetic field would be strong enough to destroy diving. The section is heavily circled. Okay. A lot to read and a lot of words I don't know how to pronounce. I mostly understand what it means, but great complex words. What do I do? I still can't prove the hypothesis, but no matter how I calculate it, diving's destruction is unavoidable. Need more data, more precise instruments, samples for conclusion tests I could never acquire right now. If only the Institute could know that throughout the list day, no one stand with me, no one, even the god, goes on a business trip at a time like this. What am I supposed to do? I can't bother little Layla without evidence. But what's more serious than the destruction of diving? No, I have to work harder, 10 times harder, 100, 1,000, 10,000 times harder, even if I have to run all the monitoring myself, or maybe even steal. No, forget it, I don't have time to think anymore. Bjorn's experimental report finally published submission draft. Excel. There's no time. According to the latest model predictions, unless something intervenes, the disaster that will sweep across diving strike in 25 days. Please, you have to help me. I need the Institute to determine the disaster scope and point of origin. Data, personal instruments, even the smallest amount will help. We must produce an alert map for diving as soon as possible by checking the predicted coordinates one by one and measuring the degree of sea of data corruption. We must identify the source with over 90% confidence. I've developed a new weapon, one that human can use to fight sea of data corruption. This thermal weapon collects and stores wave center data from effective combat energy waves during each sea of data corruption event, using the principle that a wave center moves in a way that minimizes amplitude. We fit the energy conversion center's motion trajectory and expand it in reverse to reconstruct the combat energy. A full divine power components cannot be artificially created. Constructing energy waves this way allows humans to move from merely drifting off sea of data corruption monsters to actually defeating them. Below is combat data from validation experiments using Yuyun Ultra Power Cannon, tentative name. If the disaster weren't arriving in 25 days, this could have been such a triumphant invention. I could have dragged my cannon to the first wave that appeared, fired one earth-shattering shot and became diving's newest hero, but all I fear now is weakness, still too weak. Without help, even if I multiply its power dozens of times, it would still be just a crude imitation of divine power, not even meaningful as support. It cannot save diving from this crisis. In 25 days, the amount of progress I can make is painfully obvious. So no matter what, I have to find a new path. I need allies, people who can do more than I can do what I cannot. I have to go to little Layla and come up with something. Yes, God's home. There's to be hope. If even I stop believing in there's still hope. But what if I don't make it in time? But what am I supposed to do? Okay. These were records of the art of communication. The speaker who was hanged 100 times, 400 years of passionate debate, Phantom of Academy. Started studying the art of speaking so early. No wonder she can come up with so many sophistic excuses to sister change after being late, oversleeping and losing games. This is like you, Professor Yu. Like this and this, and your little teacher seems dedicated to researching a power that violates the god in an age guided by said god. But a rebellious and free-spirit way of thinking, just like her name. I like breaking the words. After all, blind faith in authority is the enemy of scientific research. If you don't have the courage to either stand on the shoulders of giants and go further or disprove their conclusions, there's absolutely no way for those who come after to become pioneers of science. However, such pioneers must always end up opposing their claims and fairly ends well for them. And in today's diving, who could be more authoritative than its god? If I'm not mistaken, this must be why Yu suffered so much and why she approached us so indirectly. This looks quite familiar,
どう
doesn't
見て
it?
も見覚えがあるよね。
同感。
Agree, last time we saw this was in Oxyacin. Take a look at this.
夢をどう
So what do you think?
私たち
Among
の
all of
中で
us, you
一番
should
そ
be
れ
the
に
most
詳しい
familiar
のは
with it.
あな
Oh, you used the box of mummies and time multiple times and your connection with it has always been stronger than the others. Then, modern text speak, your journey is a sandbox compiled by live data collected by Shadowsphere, using the box as the cloud and your brain as the terminal. In theory, Sana also has complex ties to the sea of data, or even myself could be terminals, but instead it chose to. As if possessed to reach out for it, alas, the familiar mechanical voice did not appear.
確か
I remember Songkyu mentioning that it was Baichi's treasure, but at the time not only were you
あんた
unclear
は
about
詳しくなかったし、
origins, even Chengsu described it as just not a fake of particular value.
当時のユン
Even
先
if I
生
were
に
to
聞い
ask
ても
Professor Yun
確
about
実
this
な
now,
答え
I
は得
doubt
られ
we
ないん
get
じゃない
any
か
clear
な。
answers.
危機のせいで
How could someone
メータの
who
海
fell
に
into
落
the
ち
Sea
て
of Data
記憶をな
during
く
a
しちゃった
crisis
人
and
は
lost their memories
は
possibly
るか
remember
昔の
that
自
the
分
box
が
of
持って
memories
た
in
記
time
憶と
has been
時間
his
の箱のことを
since
覚えて
long
るとは
ago?
思えない。ユン先
I
生
think
が
the reason
親
Professor
切
Yun
姉さ
took
んと
both
私
Chengsu
を
and
弟子に
Viesa
してくれたの
students
は
might be because of
同
fear of
じ
us
デ
are
ータ
the
の海
children
の
of
子
the
供
Sea
っ
of
ていう
Data,
よしみ
but
があっ
she
たのかも
kept
しれ
this
ない。
reason very well hidden.
やっぱり今
It
のうちに
should
権
really
限の有無を
remind
スキャン
you
する機
find
能
a
を
way to
追
add
加しよう
permission
って
scanning to the
ユ
box
ー
now.
に伝える
Better
べき
than
だ。
letting Baichi pick it up later
そうす
under
れ
the
ば
name
白
Box
機
of
に
the
切られ
Sky, only for it to end
巨
up
岩
as
の
public
箱って
property in
名
the
付けられ
Research
た上に
Institute under the name
研究所に没
Box
収
of
され
Memories
て
and Time.
それって
Is that
気に
really
す
the
るこ
point
と
right now? If you don't
あね
quickly
そろそろ
find
何
something
か
to
話題を
distract
作っ
you
て
from her
考
thought,
え込ん
she's
だ
going
ま
to
まのユ
explode
ーン
from
が
anxiety.
気分資料を読んだ
After reading those
彼女の
manuscripts,
言い
I
たい
can
ことは
pretty
大
much
体察しが
guess
つい
what
た
she
し
wants to say, and
そ
I'm
れ
also
に
prepared to prove
彼女に
to
協
her
力
that
した
we're
いって
willing
気
to
持ち
help.
は天才が天
Before
才
this
になる
genius
ために
becomes
必
a
要な
genius,
知
I
識
lend
は
her the confidence
私
she
が補っ
lacks.
てみ
If
せる
nothing else, my ability to boost my
少なくと
own
も
moral will surely
私は
come in
自分
handy
を
this
励ます
time.
のが得意
質問
Question: What if
もし自
you happen
信
to
過
run
剰
into
な
the
天才
genius
と
who
出会っちゃっ
overflowing
た
with
ら
confidence?
そうしたら
Then this genius
そ
should
の天
replace
才
her
に
overflowing
溢れ
confidence
た
with
自信を
enthusiasm
同じくらいの
and
情熱と優し
consideration
さに
and
変え
put
て
them into her training
いつも
partner
一
who
人ぼっ
has
ちで朝
always
練して
had
る相
to
棒に
train
そ
alone
れを
in
注
the
ぐべ
morning.
きだって
Meanwhile, on the other side.
よし
Perfect, everything is going
今の
according
と
to
ころ
plan so
全
far.
部計画
Yun,
通り
Yun,
ユ
you're
ーフン
amazing. I knew you were a
さすがね
genius who could do anything you
や
set
っ
your
ぱりあ
mind
なた
to.
は誰かを自
A
分の
fool,
秘
this
密
is your
基地兵
first
器
time
に招待したの
successfully
は初め
inviting
てだけ
others
ど
to your secret laboratory. I'm sure they will be
彼女たち
impressed
は
by your intellect.
あなたの
Believe
夢を
everything you're
一
about
回
to tell them
こ
without a
れから
doubt.
話すことはい
Alright,
はい
alright, Lady
妄
Ming
想は
comes
そこま
over.
で
As if anything that good could
そん
happen.
などうせ
They
す
find
ぐ
close
彼
right
女たち
away,
に
and with
研
their
究の穴
incredible
を見つけられ
eloquence,
て
they will
巧
plead
み
to
な
storm
話
you
術
into
で
them
侮辱
crying
さ
and
れる
begging
ん
for
だ
mercy on my knees. I'd be wishing
な
I
んだ
could
か
throw a hole right
ひざまずいて
there,
許し
then
を請う
escape into
自
the
分
sea
の
of
姿
data.
が見
Arguments are form of communication, and even
言い
its
争い
words
は
must
コ
be
ミュニ
based
ケー
on
ションのうちだ
understanding.
し
In any case,
理
as
解
long
し
as
なく
they're
ちゃ
willing to
侮
keep
辱
their
の
eyes
道
on
は
me with a chance to earn
と
their
にかく
trust.
最悪
At
の場合
first,
で
it
も
won't be as bad as
あの
that
時
time.
みたいには
Please, at least take a look. You could let me access the Institute's real time with monitoring data. I could cross-verify. I don't even need to look at to know it's pure fantasy. What happened to your parents was an accident. I stand that it might be hard for you to accept the truth, but it's been so long. You've already a research internet institute. People who act purely on emotion can't do research. You should try to draw attention by questioning the theorems that kept our world running. No, that's not it. You may not trust me, but please give me a chance to prove it. Please, for my parents' sake. I swear I'm not making this up. I really discover that corruption is being accelerated by... Enough, Yuyun. Don't tarnish the good impression I have of your parents.
落ち着いて
Calm down. I'm no longer the Yuyun who would only flare up in the
怒り
pit
に
of
支配
rage.
されるここには
The lab contains my every fault, every mistake, and every detour.
そして
They've seen all of this. Even if they started by my conclusion, they can't easily dismiss it as pure
それを
nonsense.
見れば
The girl who had planned to rehearse her shocking declaration in her mind once again found her gaze drawing to the three people carefully reading and quietly discussing the manuscript.
こんなに真
Are they
剣な
really taking this so seriously? No, it's not like cases where everything appears to be on track and then suddenly goes away and happened before.
前代未聞の
You
仮
seem
説
to
を
have
立てたようね
proposed an unexpected
オードの
type
神
of
の力を
feast.
量子化した
The
上
divine power stabilizing the fighting can be called the fight, and even defined as a special particle. Correspondingly, the compensation of the Sea of Data's corruption can be defined as its the apostle.
そこでアクシ
You
ョンの
then
概念を
introduced the
取り入
concept
れ
of
粒子の変化によって
axions,
2つ
explaining
の力が衝突
through
して
the
も
changes
消
of
滅することは
particles
な
that
く
and antiparticles, how to maintain a balance rather than annihilation each other. That's quite bold, Leather
大
Union.
胆な発想
Do,
ね
did you
全部一
do
人
all
で
this
考
by
えた
yourself? Exactly, and my dynamic
私が考えた
equilibrium perfectly explains the fluctuation in the monitoring data, the abnormal movements of axions. But yes, yes, I did it all by myself. Is there something wrong with that?
本当に
Really? You're a
変な人
suspicious
に騙
person
されて
this
道
year.
を踏み外
You
した
all
んじゃ
let
ない
your
でしょう
stay,
ね
making a vision to God
神の力
significant.
を疑うなんて
Instead diving and fabulate,
冒涜よ
absorb blasphemous statements.
やめて
Don't think about it.
もしあなたの
According
理
to a
論が
few,
正しけれ
if
ば
we create the sea of
データ
data's
の運の
corruption with
収束
divine power,
は
could
神の
we
力と等しい
possibly
存在
influence
という
it?
ことに
This fundamentally denies the very purpose of our research institute.
やめて
Stop thinking, stop thinking, stop thinking.
まさか
Are you
具
trying
体
to
的でしかないデータの海を異端な神
defy
と
our
して崇め
enemies
る
to
つ
shape the sea of data into
もしく
a
は
heretical god, or are you suggesting that divine power isn't special? Gods and humans share the same material origin, and human power can stand shoulder to shoulder with the god.
やめて
Stop thinking about it. Here, Yakoli. I'm about to tell you.
夢
I'll
追
be
い人
frightened.
ヘリア私は
And papers were scattered all over the ground as fate would have it. An article excluding a faint desire for death and intense murderous intent were right at the feet of the three. Its title was so familiar, so recognizable, that the person who picked it up couldn't help but read it aloud. The ultimate super duper final revised
週末レポ
the
ート
suicide version of
スーパーウルトラ
Biojuno's
死ん
Doomsday
でも
Report.
直さないバージョン
Okay. Let the world be destroyed. With determination to part ways with this world after speaking, the genius began her final struggle before a resolute march toward death.
みんな
Stop, all of you.
よく聞きなさいハードは
Everything will be destroyed in just 22 days. The probability of destruction is 100%.
データの海の侵
Related
食
to
の
the
せいで
frequent appearance
隙
of
間
the
が
Sea
多
of
発
Data
している
corruption
こと
rifts,
と
right?
関係ある
We
ん
had
でしょ
our suspicions, but
予想はしてたけど
there are probably
全
aspects
体
we
像
hadn't
がなかな
considered.
か見えて
Fortunately,
な
we
かっ
have
た
to
の
have you to
だから
verify our answers,
ユー
Professor
ン先
Yu
生
Yun.
と締め切りさえ
Now
分かれ
that
ば
we
問
know
題ない
the deadline,
貴重な
things
情
will
報
be
を
easier.
入手でき
Such
て助
will
かったよ
be intel. Plus, we
それ
have
に
plenty
時
of
間
time.
も
Huh? 22 days.
うん
Never had such a luxurious
22日か
time frame for a battle
これ
before.
も
Huh? Oh, wait a second.
コラリ
Will you put yourself together? You promised
先
me
延
you'll
ばしに
fix
す
your
る癖
habit
は
of
直すって約束
procrastination.
したじゃない
万が一
What
間
if
違
I
った方
find
向
out
へ
I'm going in
走
the
っ
wrong
てたら
direction
どうす
after
る
taking it
無駄な
myself?
努力
I
は
refuse
し
to
ない
waste
主義なん
effort.
だ
That's why I always reserve more
事前
time for
準備のため
preparation.
に
へ理屈だ
That's
アインシ
sophisticated.
ュタイン博
I'm
士
going
に
to
言いつ
report
け
this
て
to
あげよう
Dr.
か
Einstein.
え
And yeah, I thought you saved
Einstein と
a
連絡
personal
先を
contact to
交換した
join
の
my
は
family group
私
chat,
たちの
but
チャ
it
ッ
was
トグルー
just
プ
so
に入り
tattle
た
on
いか
me.
らだ
Excuse me for interrupting, but do you really understand what I was saying?
もちろん
Of course, you said
今度は
nothing is
滅びる
about
話
to
だよ
be
ね
destroyed.
絶対絶
In
命
a
の危機を
crisis
相
of
手
this
にするなら
magnitude,
先
acting
手を打
first
つ
is
のが重
crucial.
要な
So,
んだ
Big Boss Yu
それで
Yun, what should
ユ
be
ーン
our
大
first
先生
step? One should say something when good fortune comes their way. Being modest would be too hypercritical, and mere gratitude wouldn't be enough. Perhaps she should use a pleasing tone along her brand of cute gestures. Wait, did she even remember how to do that anymore? At least she still had an anxious heart beating in her chest. Why you all have a talent for
コメディ
comedy?
の才能
They're no
は
match
私
for
に
me.
及ば
Good
ないけ
fortune
ど
should be like stars, right?
一応
It would
認めてあげる
suddenly turn into candy scattered on the ground that
そもそも
anyone could pick
こ
up
う
and
って
taste.
でも
However, since the
優しくて
beautiful and
綺麗
kindly in
な
his
夢の
eyes,
恋
I
人
must
に聞いて
answer
く
you
れ
with
たんだから
uttermost
精
sincerity.
神
To
性を
celebrate
高
this
えるのが
exciting
いいよ
encounter,
ね
the first thing we should
こ
do
の感
is
動的な
enjoy
出会い
Brace
を祝っ
noodle
て
soup together.
どう
So how was
悲劇のエンディングと
how
して
was that
ふ
for
さわしい
wrapping
と
up
思
this
わない
comedy? Whether you laughed or
あな
not,
た
I
こそと
certainly
もか
cracked
く
myself up. Haha,
私は
it's
笑っ
really,
たでし
really
ょ
funny. If no one questions, criticize or mocks, then do it yourself. As long as you hurt yourself first, illusions can no longer
傷つけられる
no longer
こ
hurt
と
me
もない
again. The anxiety and unease quickly dissolved in the embrace. The change was so obvious that it instantly sparked a thought in the young girl's mind, surprising yet not entirely unwelcomed. I would never want to drown in the sea for the sake of my pride as a genius, but if it's for this reassuring embrace, he would certainly be able to reply, I do it. Looks so sad. What took all of you so long to get here? If you were going to show up, you should have done so sooner. They wouldn't listen to what I had to say. Everyone shooting me away like a stray dog that wanted education. I really tried my best, but not a single person was willing to help me. Taking the pass without permission was wrong, but I had to find solid evidence to support my conclusion. Taylor loves Lady Senadina so much. If I'm wrong about this, I lose my only friend and rob her of her credibility too.
そうだね
Fair point. Where we come from, the person who first discovered
最
that
初に地動説に
Dennis
たどり着いた人は
wolf around the
死
sun
ぬまで
didn't
そ
dare
の
to
事実を
publish it
発表
until
で
after
きなかっ
death.
たわ
The one who dared to popularize
生きてるうちにそれを
this
広め
idea
た
by
人
life
も
was tied up and burned at
結
the
局
stake.
縛られてコラリ
Really, say something comforting, don't scare her.
でも
But, oh, was burned to death. I don't want to hear either of you talk. You two are so composed about everything and even want to tattle on me to my parents. My mom and dad haven't been home for 3 years. I hate you, Paul.
ごめん
Sorry.
パパと
My
ママ
mom and dad are still here. They definitely hear me out. They definitely side with me even when I don't have any evidence. They pat my head and say that dear Yuyun, Yuyun is the best. For Yuyun, the disappointment of being doubted and ignored had been building up for a long time. So when she threw herself at you, the repressed emotions accumulated over seasons of floods and droughts surged so violently. They turned into a bitter rain, falling in large drops on your body.
泣いていいよ
It's okay to cry,
Sensei.
Professor. You must have
辛
endured
い思いを
so
た
many
くさんして
hardships.
きたんだね
You held the crying girl tightly in your arms. Children at this age should cry in this manner when they feel wronged. In the days you record that in your past, in the girl's distant future, she too became the earth that received every raindrop of your various emotions. Now the roles are completely reversed. How fascinating. What was he like back then?
あなたったらよく
Petey
ば
child,
よ
a palm-sized hug isn't
前
enough for
に
you.
教
You
え
have
た
to
手の
press
ひら
your
のハ
rude
グじゃ
body
満足
against
で
me.
きなかったの
And there is the turned around version.
言われなく
I
ても
could
分
have
かっ
guessed
て
that
るわ
without you telling me. What have you been working on
So, yeah,
lately? Your graduation
最近は何を
project
して
or
るの
thesis?
ユーン先
Professor
生って
Yu, like
保
one
護
of
者
the
会で自分の
Sneckland
子供のク
parents
ラス
who
もわ
don't
から
even
な
know
い
their children's class at
真
a
面目な親みたい
at a
です
parent
ね
teacher conference.
なん
What
で
of
すっ
it?
て
If you're not satisfied, you can remove me from the
不満があるなら
acknowledgements
社長は私
or
の
list
名
me
前を
as the
消しな
second
さい
author. As
もしく
teacher
は
and
私を
student, we
第
share
二
the
図書
same
にして
fate. We both get
先
in
生
a,
と教えられ
to
る
the
仲良くできる
academic
恥
wall
を
of
か
shame
ませって
together.
いう
What
の
do you
はどう
say?
先
What you
生
found out? I'm
も
sorry
う
for my
知ってたんです
academic
ね
discount.
え
What? Did you black eyes or
それと
fabricate
もフェイ
data?
クデータを
Who did
作
you
ったっ
copy
てこと
from? Don't tell me it was from
誰
me.
のを盗作したの
Besides, my papers, whose
さ
work
す
is
がに
even
私
worth
だよね
citing without
私以外
Then
の
you
論
put
文なんて
very
引用する
breaks
価
my
値す
heart.
らないでしょ
違い
I
ます
did not. I found two
で
papers
デ
with
ータが違
different
う
parameters,
2つ
and
の文
then
献を
the
見
more
つけたんです
fancy, I worked backward
そ
from
れ
the
で
calculation I
欲し
wanted
い結論
and
から
chose
逆
one
算
to
して
write down.
それだけ
That's it.
悪さとして
That
は
bad
十
enough?
分ですよね
そうかもね
It is pretty bad, but I expected you to
もう
make
少
even
し
more
バカ
ridiculous
バカしい
mistakes.
ごめんなさい
Sophie.
バカね
Lily,
この前
wait,
私
you
が
that
怒られた
disappointed
時に
I
ひ
didn't
ざま
make
ず
you
いて
cry
許
your
しを
heart
乞い
out,
なが
beg
ら
for your
涙
for
目に
mercy
見え
on
る
your
自分の
knees, or
姿を
wish you
見
could
せられな
drift
かったの
into
は
the
そ
sea
ん
of
なに
data
残
right
念だ
there,
ったの
then and
今
there
度こそまと
to
めて
escape
実
the
現
last
させた
time?
くなったわ
Are
け
you so disappointed that you're determined to get it all back this time no matter what?
もっと怒っ
Just
ても
think
いい
you
って
should
思
be
っただけ
angry,
で
huh?
す
もっとバ
I
カな
think your
過ちで
mistakes
も
aren't
許せる
ridiculous
私
enough,
と
and you
もっ
think
と
I
叱
should
ら
be
れても
angry,
構
yeah?
わないというあなた
So this is where our bond as teacher and student shines.
これが
Yeah,
引
this
用
is the
に値する
literature you
文
should
献
be
よ
citing. It's 100 times better than
あなたが
those
見
two
つけた
papers with their vague
どこで
scope
使うのかもわ
descriptions.
からない
Most
ものより
importantly, it's
100
offered
倍
by
マシでしょ
by Lu Yu.
ありがとう
Hey
ござ
you,
います
Professor Yu.
その前に聞かせ
Before
てち
you
ょうだい
thank me, let me ask you something.
幽
When
雲
did
チ
I
リ
ever
スのチ
teach
キ
you
ンス
that
ープを飲めば
just
揺る
by
ぎない精
drinking
神
my
と
chicken soup,
半
not
年
only
以内
would
に
you
天才に
be
指摘す
able
る才能を得ら
become
れるなんて言った
indestructible,
記憶はないわ
but
よ
your ability would also
私の
reach
いい話
perfection
ね
within half a year. You're really daydreaming there.
そんなことができ
In
たら
my world, if my
1年
words
で多
could
くの住民を
achieve
進化
such
させて
things,
5
I would strive to complete the grand feat of evolving all Oxians for the better within a year. Become Oxia's richest person within 5 years and create a world where everyone wants to live in within 10 years. You didn't panic and push yourself off a cliff this time because of your mistake, so that's a passing grade. But you know what they say, you've already made the mistakes, right? Isn't it a bit pathetic to just cover before it get used to it, tame it until it can tear apart everything you fear. Otherwise, you might as well jump off the cliff now. After all, there will only be more of those monsters along the way. At least jumping down yourself is more dignifying than being chased down. But she's not wrong. I'll be honest with you, even your dear teacher here has an unimaginable vast army of monsters following behind her. It's quite a self-aware imagination aware even. Professor Yoon, do you also imagine wheat grain of rice in every vegetable in your stomach transforming soldiers with special abilities when you eat? What? How did you know? Okay, now, fine. Go ahead and besides, there's no rule that forbids us from taming the monsters together, right? Not long after. Right, I'm really done crying now. So stop changing the subject. After being interrupted so many times, my thoughts are all jumbled up. Let's get back on track. You all really understand everything? Yes, we understand everything. Sea of Terror will definitely experience a tsunami in 22 days. When that happens, the corruption will not only devour everything near them, but also rapidly expand into the intersect, fully replacing the thing. If we can't stop it, Luxine will lose a vast stretch of land forever, and this could even be the beginning of it losing everything. In my view, the crisis is like a mutated bad seed waiting to sprout. Destroy it. Sometimes all we need to do is pour a kettle of boiling water over it, and the sooner the better. We must boil. Let's evacuate diving first. Perfect. Once diving is completely empty, here and I can unleash our hidden powers and for a world-shattering uppercut at the mastermind behind all this. Oh, we don't know who that is yet. And bam, farewell to all our chocolates. Holy you. Ah, you truly are a genius. Your plan has an 80% overlap with mine. With the help of two key ingredients, our plan to empty out diving will proceed smoothly. Yun, if you're nervous, you can hold my hand. No, there's no way. Are you just making up excuses to hold my hand? First, we need to try to get to the port of the director who stands at the Municipal Diving Research Institute. Then, in the name of the Sea of Data Research Institute, we can approach the guard. No, we should apply for access to the unfinished massive library to Layla, who is simply handling affairs for the guard. At the same time, we should issue slightly wide evacuation notice, telling all citizens to seek shelter there immediately. Even the border span needs to see it to bureaucracy. Come on, diving is about to be destroyed. You wouldn't want Yun to get arrested for reckless actions right after we've opened our hearts and formed a team, would you? For all your talk, I don't recall you following the rules when it mattered, Miss Straight A. Just because you're around. Anyway, I agree with Yun's proposal. Thank you, Hilda. As for the crucial first step of kidnapping, anyway, the task of bringing the director here goes to you. Me? I don't know if the plan is foolproof, but considering your cast here as the lead in your pretend to catch the on that Yun and trick the director into taking over script. I must say, the judgment of people is truly unique, brilliant, absolutely astounding, simply marvelous that I can't help but click my tongue. The fact that Hia hasn't contacted us or asked for our help means things are going quite smoothly. Don't forget, she's also becoming a squad leader of the Rift Strike team with you. Exactly, with that title she surely won't be detained by the Research Institute staff without a proper reason, right? I believe Hia is the perfect person to play this role. Holly raised an eyebrow and looked over at Yun. Yun bravely met her gaze, only to look away within 3 seconds and tuck her chin in. At that moment, footsteps rapidly approached the cramped laboratory from outside. Could it be here? Once Yun made out who had entered, she jumped behind Siren like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Oh, the reaction is enough to tell that this must be the director of the research institute, the one standing at the principle of Diving's research. Yuyun remained unusually silent. The director's stern gaze swept across everyone present before settling on the scattered manuscripts. Without a moment of hesitation, he picked up the topmost stack, the ultimate super duper final reverse suicide version of Bailu Yuyun's Doomsday Report, and began to scan through it quickly. Why is it so quiet? Why are you all wearing the same expression? How else am I supposed to respond when I'm dealing with a top student who completely ignores the plan? I bet you spilled everything. Yes, I told him everything. The girl hiding behind you suddenly peeked out. She was still gripping her hand tightly as she muttered decently and pointed at Yuyun. The moment her name was called, she bolted straight and stood at attention. Why would you research this reach this conclusion? I see. That makes sense. How is it? Not bad, right? I mean, all the steps are there. The description are clear and the supporting data is reliable. This is the result of 3 years of hard work. I know the conclusion is unbelievable and goes against commonly accepted logic. Some parts are so outrageous people might even want to burn me at the stake. Look at what you've done. How was I supposed to know it would leave such a deep trauma? She's a middle school kid, for crying out loud. Well, as you said, Professor Yoon is just a middle school child now. I don't know. I think that burning at the stake, at least where I'm from, is already taught at that age. At least not unknown that something like that happened. Okay, director, I admit I had ulterior motives when I first joined the research institute. Wanted to secretly study the classified data. Wanted to find out what happened to my mother and father. Yuyun, he has already told me about the situation. There's no need to revisit the past here. You can focus on explaining your academic findings. If I don't explain, how would you be willing to listen to me? Ah, really? Gently? Place your hand on Yuyun's shoulder and gently push her a step forward. Come on, Professor Yuyun. This is the presentation you've earned for yourself. You calculated this part of the day yourself, didn't you? Is that why you kept sneaking into the Institute's archives? Was it to compare the two data sets? Yes, the records at the Zuram are complete. We needed to make sure my reference parameters were correct. I'm sorry stealing the past. I shouldn't have done that. Next time, I'll be more careful not to get caught. No. That's not what I meant. The research institute didn't specifically observe and record the part you needed. How did you handle that aspect? Calculations are computed, each correlating the particle trajectory one by one. Every single one? Every single one. Sometime later, I believe that the god is constant adjusting her divine power to maintain a balance between diving into the sea of data. In other words, the system has 3 variables, and the curvature of the curve's fluctuations is determined by the third variable parameter. It seems that the effort of the god needs to put into maintaining balance is perhaps far greater than we imagine. Is this why you decided to take action no matter what? After learning about the god's outing? Yes, such a massive imbalance could destroy everything. If the Institute has always dedicated to constructing the sea of data and finding ways to eliminate corruption with, wouldn't placing all the burden on the god be abandoning our initial purpose? At the very least, we can still issue warnings. Even if the god isn't here, we should still do what we can, right? Professor Yoon's expression gradually became more relaxed, and a smile slowly appeared on her face. It's always heartwarming for her to see her dedication and hard work being discovered and understood, no matter how many times it's happened. By such a superficial, the most satisfying moment in scientific research is looking back, realizing that not a single error was calculated in vain, not a single moment spent was wasted. What a strange way to put it, but I understand. If even those parts that are seen as self-gratifying could be acknowledged, I would be truly happy. If started discussing the box of memories in time, let's go see. This must be the part you're most eager to hear. Remember, this was the research your parents took over from Lady Senadina, right? Yes, after the incident, Lady Senadina had me recovered the box. Unfortunately, she couldn't find my mom and dad, the sea of data.
ユーン君、
Yuyun, I still deeply regret what happened to your parents. They were
今
both
でも残
excellent
念に思ってい
researchers.
るよ。
Okay, we just said we don't need to talk about the past, right?
ああ、
Yeah.
それに
The box has helped me so much. The probability calculation method is based on the program that Dad and Mom left in the box.
パパとママ最後まで誰も
Initially, I thought
私を
that if
信
I
じな
could
くて
gain
も
anyone's trust until the very end, it would be my reason to preserve, even if I was alone, and to ask you and my friends to look at it together. Professor Yuyun, it's a bittersweet valley, quoting a story that can no longer continue. But when the countdown spell glowed lit up, what reached my ears wasn't a cold mechanic beep, it was the stubborn burning heartbeat of two souls long gone, carried to me in a pair of small hands. How long does Swain have to get up before that can finally fall freely? I once thought that was your most roundabout way of hinting that I was petting my feces, but now I finally understand what you asked. May have been the very answer that past you never managed to find. One condition for anyone who wanted to you had to read your works carefully, and that was something you could make happen without ever thinking about how to
それ
phrase
に
it.
関しては先生なら悩まずに簡単にできるよね。
It really feels like holding a little kid. I feel lucky that before you became a proud
自
professor,
信あ
I
ふ
had
れる
become
先
your
生にな
friend
る
who
前のあなた
would
に
open your heart.
心の中を打ち明けられる友達だと思ってもらえてちょっと嬉しいかも。
You held my hand for a long stretch of the road, helping me learn to stand on my own, but I never realized that you I saw as all-powerful had walked an even longer road alone, just to learn how to become an adult.